All right. Welcome back to Harland Podcast. We got my friend here, Zach, talking about Big Brother 22, All Stars 2. We're a couple episodes in, and a lot has already happened. First thing I want to ask you about is, because it's the biggest thing I think going on right now in terms of talking points, is Kaser and Janelle being targeted this first week and having to win safety to ensure they actually make it through the week intact together. What is your thoughts on them being targeted so early?
Not really surprised. I think everybody was honestly expecting it. They both are the only ones that participated in like the first All-Star season, so it's like, of course they're going to be targeted. Uh, I mean, as a fan, I'm kind of upset, but as a player, I see why he's targeting them. But other than that, yeah,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like with me, I obviously really liked them and I didn't want them to be targeted, but the first thing that came to my head when Cody won was that there's only really two possible nominees that made the most sense, and it's Janelle and Kaser, because you have everything you can use against them. Janelle's a great competitor, Kaser's a good competitor. They obviously have the long ass, like 2 decade long relationship that's
yeah,
gonna clearly come into play into the game. And then of course it's either them or the two winners that makes the most sense. And Cody's obviously working really closely with one of the winners, so it has to be them.
yeah.
Um, another great thing to talk about here going into this is, what is your thoughts on a player saying we want to lay low and take it easy, then instantly competing really strongly in competitions? Like we've seen it with Ian in the first episode. He's saying that he wants to lay low and not ruffle any feathers, and he instantly like dominates a competition. And then Kaser here does the same thing here with the safety suit.
I mean, I think they all go in with like a plan of what they want to do, but as soon as they get in there and then they see like the other people that they're playing with, their whole like strategies go out the window, which is like expected because I mean, I don't think there's really like any weak players this season. I think everybody's pretty smart and everybody's in it to win it, and nobody's really just trying to float to the end. Even though we're probably gonna have some floaters, but everyone's in there to win, so I understand.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Ian one was a little bit just like weird, just because. But at the same time, I don't think that it's that big of a deal because everyone already knows Ian's really good at the maze kind of competitions. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
he won that veto and that double eviction on his season, and basically eventually won him the game because he was going home that night. And then, yeah, Kaser, everyone already knows he's a good competitor. I think it's really hard to even think that these people can come into the game with the resumes they have and look weak
yeah,
anyway. Like it's almost
yeah.
impossible.
Yeah, there's no throwing competitions. Like everybody knows Tyler's a beast. They know Cody's a beast. They know Janelle's a beast. So there's really like no downplaying how good they are. So
That is true. And a big thing that's been going on now, that I don't know if you only watch the show, you might not want to. Well, actually, I don't think you'll care. You just won't know much about this because there's no way they're going to actually show this on the actual show. But a
hmm
huge thing going on right now is the pre-gaming that happened in the season,
oh
specifically
god,
around two players that aren't even on the show right now, Dan
this is
and Derek.
infuriating. This is horrible.
Yeah,
Oh
like
my gosh.
I don't think anything like anything like this even happen in BB7? I know there was a lot of pre-gaming, but it was between people that were actually going to be on the show. But as
Yeah,
two people are dominating the game right now that knew they were
not
going to say
even.
no from the beginning.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I mean, the first All Star season, they were probably pre gaming, but they were probably pre gaming within their own season. So like season 6, Chilltown,
Right.
like they had already played with each other, so of course they're gonna pregame. But this is like a whole like majority alliance. This is like from Memphis to Cody to Nicole. It's just crazy. Like I wasn't expecting this to be like this corrupt, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I expected Cody and Nicole to obviously already have something going in. That's obvious. I mean, I even would have expected like Ian and Janelle, and here that's not even a thing because they're not part of. It's just weird to me that it all comes from Dan and Derek, two people that aren't in the
Yes,
show, like people that aren't
but it
on
just
the game.
it shows the power that they have. So I mean, that's kind of powerful. You're not even on the season, and you're having like a lasting effect of what's going on already.
Yeah, that's true. And I think but I think one of the worst parts about it is like, oh man, it's like they don't even Janelle and Kaiser, they don't even have a chance because they don't even realize what's
Yeah,
happening. Like they're talking
it
about how Memphis
sucks.
has to stick with Keisha and how he has nobody else in the game. He doesn't even they don't realize that there was a giant preseason deal between Cody and Memphis already because of Derek and Dan.
Yeah, I just feel so bad. Like going into the season, it's already kind of. I mean, the pecking order is already kind of determined. I feel like. I mean, they know what they're gonna do. The only way that Casey and Janelle can like change where they are is win the HOH. Honestly, because I don't see them getting out of their situation anytime soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, like when you look at it in the way that you had look at it, it's what is you have essentially an alliance that's already been like was formed 2 weeks before anything even happened. So if there's
Exactly.
right, so like if there's any like cracks in this alliance, we would have already seen it, and this mistrust and stuff. It seems really solid in the terms of these next few weeks. It's pretty obvious how it's going to go down if certain people win that HOH or certain people have power, which
I
kind of
don't know if
sucks.
you I don't know if you watched the first night of feeds, but it was really interesting. Like people were just like they barely said two words to each other, but when they get into a room with each other, they already were talking like they've been working together for like the longest. Like they already knew that they were going to be on there together, so they were like, okay, let's do this, this, and this. It was
Well,
pretty kind of, yeah, it was crazy.
yeah, I mean the pre-gaming became really obvious when Memphis and Cody had their first conversation of the
Yeah,
season, and it was like they were fucking best friends.
yeah,
And
like they
they
know
had
each other for years. I was like, what
right,
the fuck?
and they like, I was so confused. I was like, this doesn't even make any sense. Every
Yeah,
every conversation leading up to that point was everyone thinking Cody would nominate Memphis, and they were just like fucking on the same page about everything. Keisha has to go, yada yada bullshit.
it just confirms that scene with those two. That just confirmed the whole Dan Derek thing already for me.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, there's no way that Derek and Dan didn't have something to do with this. It makes sense now too because Dick kept talking about how Dan and Derek were pre-gaming with everybody before the season, and that's why he thought they were on. But this whole time they were pre-gaming for their people, Memphis and Cody,
Shout
really.
out to ED because he spoils everything.
Yeah, I don't know how Edie has all these connects, but he always got the connects. All right, another thing I wanted to talk about is do you think that it's weird that people aren't really pointing the fingers at the winners yet? That you'd think that the winners would come in with kind of an easier target on their back, especially with them being two, but neither one of them have been really talked about as much as terms of being threatening in the game. I mean, Ian a bit, but Nicole seems to be like kind of escaping this whole target
Yeah,
thing.
it's kind of crazy. Like they're just blowing past them. But I mean, you look at Dr. Will in like the first All Stars. They didn't really. They thought about going after him, but he's just so suave and so good. But I mean, Nicole and Ian don't have that same type of charisma that you would just want to like keep them in the game, and um, they're not like they're good winners, but they're the only winners. So it's like it's kind of weird. I don't know how to explain it.
I get what you're saying because I thought going in that I I think that though to a certain extent we do have to like factor in the fact that Cody is HOH, and obviously Cody isn't going to go after Nicole. So that's probably why
Yeah,
there hasn't been a big stigma against Nicole yet, because there's really no
true.
point of even thinking about it, because Cody's not going to do anything. But with Ian being on the outside, I would have thought somebody would have used it as an opportunity just to kind of get Ian to be in the spotlight. Oh, Ian's a winner. He's an easy person to put on the block. I thought Keisha and Kevin would try to use that against him or something. I know Kevin's closer to Ian than
Yeah.
most people though. So, but like Keisha and Janelle or Keisha, like they really wanted to save Keisha. Ian would be a person that they could easily put the spotlight on with him being a previous winner, with him being, known for laying low and then, beasting comps at the end. You could build a resume against him, but I don't know. It's just I feel like this people are missing out on that aspect for this week.
Um, I've been watching feeds, and a lot of people are catching on to Ian, which is, I mean, I guess is smart because he is one of those people I could see like sliding to the end if they don't get him out within those first couple weeks. Same with Nicole, but Nicole again, like preseason alliances, she's set to probably at least the final pre-jury or middle early jury.
Yeah, I mean, like apparently her and Danielle are like fucking best friends. Like I didn't.
Yeah, I
As
did not know that.
yeah, me neither. I had no clue.
Oh my gosh.
And they just instantly were working together when the season started. So like I feel like she just at this point played the game 3 weeks earlier than you were supposed to, and now she's kind of set. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's hard because people. One of the big thing about this season is that is it's really hard to take people to face value, and that's
Mhm.
because we've never had these first week feeds before where
Yeah.
we're getting everything thrown at us at once when we're used to getting like just cut down to
Yeah.
the most important, most relevant stuff in like 3 edited episodes, and then we get thrown into the shithole. In this case, we don't really know what everyone's thinking because we're waiting for the episodes to finally get like the real truth from the from the
Yeah.
players' DRs and stuff. So we're being told all these different pieces of information because like Davon 1 second is like, yeah, I want to work with Nicole, and the next second she's like, hell no, never. So it's
Yeah.
really hard to
And
know.
like it's weird because everybody's scared to play, and usually like around this time when we finally get to see the feeds, like a lot of alliances have been formed, and as soon as we open feeds, like there's game talk immediately. But this season it was a little weird seeing like no game talk. The first 2 days, like they would talk a little game, but it was like barely anything to like significance.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually kind of crazy because we're almost through this first week officially almost. So we're like day 5 tomorrow. And
Yeah.
we still don't technically really have a solidified alliance because we're getting
Yeah,
all
that's
these.
crazy.
Right? Like I thought something would have been built right now, but it seems like even with these preseason alliances coming in, there's so many of them that no
Hmm.
one knows what group they actually want to solidify and go forward with. Like we had
Yes.
Enzo saying he wants to work with Davon, Bailey, Nicole, and Danielle, but then in the same breath they want to work with Cody and Tyler, and in the same breath they want to work with Ian and Nicole A. So it's
Yeah.
really confusing.
I think once the second HOH, yeah, obviously when the second HOH happens, this is when we're going to see like the alliances and the people that really came to play are going to start playing for real.
Yeah, for sure. I think it sucks to say it, but I think with Keisha potentially leaving this week because she seems to
Uh,
be the easy target at this point.
yeah,
That's when the game kind of turns around because it's going to be that much harder to get rid of everyone else because I feel everyone else has more solidified relationships. Keisha's only relationships are with Janelle and Kaser, really, and both
yeah.
of them have already said they're not willing to actually go out of their way to save her this week. So I feel like
And
she's a sitting duck.
yeah, she thinks she has Memphis, and it's like the complete opposite. It
Yeah.
sucks because I really wanted them to work together, but it's like he's on doing his own thing, which is good for him because it seems like he's in a really good position with everybody, honestly.
Yeah, Memphis. I'm gonna say Memphis is in a really good spot. I think that the pre-gaming thing with Cody really helps his game out because
Yeah,
he's instantly kind of in the he's he's in that inner circle without actually having to show himself being in that inner circle. It's allowed him to build those relationships with Kaser and Janelle and Keisha and make them believe, the story that he's invented that he's with them. And also at the same time, I think it makes sense for Memphis not to work with Keisha. I know people don't want to hear that, but Keisha went on about
yeah,
how she doesn't trust Memphis because he screwed her last time. And she's over.
exactly.
Like, why do people want it to be the other way around? I don't get it. Obviously, Memphis shouldn't trust her. She doesn't trust him.
Exactly. I'm gonna say early, like before we get deeper into the season, I really see Memphis getting at least final three. I really do, because he seems like the player that can really slide. A lot of people like him. I know it's early to say, but like I could really see him getting to final three. He's one of those oddballs that could really just slide through.
I get what you're saying. I really think I can say this. I see Memphis almost 100% making jury at least just because he's in a spot where he's really good with the majority and the minority also needs him no matter what. So even if he votes Keisha out this week, let's say, and there's a chance that he probably throws his vote to help Keisha just to make it seem like he's still with Janelle and Kaser. But even if he
Hmm.
went against her, there's nothing Janelle and Kaser can do to Memphis because they still need him no matter what. So I feel like he's perfectly set right now. I just think it's a
Yeah.
little too early to call final three and stuff because I was saying Kevin's gonna go really far a second ago, and
Oh,
then
right.
his game fell apart like the next day. So,
Literally.
so it's just I need more things to develop before I start really pinpointing what I think is gonna happen. But I definitely see Memphis being someone that goes deep. He just seems like the kind of player that no matter what, he's just kind of good at Big Brother. Big Brother's just kind of his game.
Yeah. He's always in the kitchen, oddly enough. Every time I open feed, he's in the kitchen. That's just an odd thing.
I don't know what it is with Memphis. I don't know. At first, I was like, oh, I never see Memphis doing anything. Oh, Memphis is so screwed. And then, I don't know. It just, next thing you know, he's, everyone's best friend. It's weird. This game's
Yeah.
developing really weirdly to me. But
Yeah.
it's All-Stars too, so I guess it's supposed to be different than everything else.
Yeah.
Another thing, okay, so I wanted to ask David's strategy of playing dumb, playing the noob.
Oh, so good. That's so good. I give him that.
I love it too. I loved it because everyone truly
It's
believed he
falling for it.
actually,
They're really
yeah,
falling for it.
fans were falling for it, man. They're like, how
Yes,
is David this
I was
stupid?
even falling for it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, the only reason I was kind of falling for it until he asked how the POV worked. I was like, yeah, you got evicted early, but you were in the house watching people win the POV and
Yeah.
use the POV. Like, you
Yeah.
have to know how a POV works. But
Yes. He's in a really good spot.
he is. But that's my main question is this: is David really as secure as it looks? If every single time the person he's supposed to be closest with calls him Kevin instead of David, is his relationship
True.
with Cody really that strong? If Cody can't even remember his name.
Okay, here's the thing with David. I feel like he's expendable. He's at the bottom of whatever alliance he gets into because people are really hesitant to like work with him because they don't really know how he plays. When I watch feeds, a couple people, Janelle was talking about how she wants him gone, and Kaser too. So it's kind of weird. I feel like he he's at an advantage because like they don't know how he plays. They don't know if he's a social threat, a physical threat. So the best thing for him to do is just, I mean, roll with it until he finds an opening to do something. I really don't know what he can do, but I mean, I like the way he's playing right now, playing dumb. That's really smart. I've never really seen that except for like I guess Dan when he played dumb like on his first season. But yeah, I
Tyler.
think that's really Tyler too. But yeah, I think he's really playing it good for how he is right now, for where he's at.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he's doing a good job in terms of like the conversations he's been in. He's contributed. He talks. He
Yeah,
opens up and talks game to the right people. Like he clearly has a really strong relationship with Davon. Like he talked.
yeah, I
He opens
wasn't
up to
expecting that.
Davon. Yeah, and then my only thing with him is I think he needs to open himself up more to people that are being viewed as outsiders. I think David has that issue where he kind of falls into the let's just make sure I'm good with the majority, and that's all
Hmm.
that matters because of his season where that's kind of how the game was, just be good with the majority, and that's all that mattered at the time.
Hmm.
And that's
Um,
why he's opened up to where Janelle and Case are making it seem like he's such an easy target for him that it makes sense for them to go after him when in reality it makes no sense at all. And David should really be trying to build a relationship with them anyway. But
Ian has stated that he feels really good with David, which was really surprising, and I actually found that to be like a really good alliance. I could see that really doing some damage in the game. But yeah, I agree with you. He definitely needs to start working with, just trying to build a connection with Kaser and Janelle, the outsiders, instead of just the majority alliance, because that could definitely get him sent home early if he's just pandering towards the majority alliance.
yeah, I agree completely, and I think that I'm just gonna put this out there since you just talked about Ian and David. I think that a really good alliance for David that would be really smart would be like a David, Ian, Nicole A,
Bailey,
Davon and
Davon. Yeah,
Bailey thing right
perfect.
there
That
would
would
be
be such a
incredible.
perfect alliance.
Yeah,
Nobody
it
would
would be
see it
amazing.
coming, except for Davon and Bailey for obvious reasons. Like everybody's already pairing them together. I mean, we already
Right.
know it's gonna happen. But yeah, I feel like that's a really good alliance that could really like nobody would expect it. I don't think anybody would really expect that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would expect that group for sure, and it would. I feel like it would be such an easy alliance to actually form because I feel like those five
Yes,
are already like the only
connected.
questionable one. Yeah, I think like they're already like connected, and like Cole and David they have their preseason thing. Bailey and Davon have their thing. Ian and Nicole have their thing. Ian and David. The only questionable aspect of it would be Ian and Davon because
Ian.
Davon has made it
Yeah.
very, very clear she views Ian as a very big threat.
Yes, and that's my issue with Davon. I need her to stop openly saying who she views as threats, and I feel like I really want to root for Davon, but like her intuition is like off this season. I don't know what's going on with her. She is just she's backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks that she's just trying to play dumber because she knows that if she says too much to the wrong person, that it can easily backfire on her, like it did in season 17, like when she figured out the twin twist and instantly like told everyone, and that
Yeah.
like backfired against her. It was easy to use against her. I think that she's kind of learned that she can be as aware as possible, but if she tells the wrong person the wrong thing, it doesn't end well for her. So I don't know. I feel like it's way too obvious that Danielle and Nicole are working together for her not to know that.
I know she needs to watch herself around Danielle. I could see Danielle really getting Davon in some big trouble this season. So Davon really needs to watch what she says around her. I kind of cringe when they're in the same room together by themselves because I already know that Danny's probably going to go back and tell like Nicole or Cody. So it's really horrible watching that.
I know. I feel the same way, especially because Davon is. My other thing with Davon is that she needs to stop playing for the fans, start playing for her. One of the
Yes.
first things she said was that I know you guys want the me and Danielle alliance, so I'm trying to make it work.
I cringe so hard. Oh my God, I cringe so hard.
I know. It's like, no, we don't want that alliance anymore because it's the exact opposite of what everybody wants right now. You just play for you. Danielle cannot
play
be
for
trusted.
yourself. Yeah.
But Bailey's killing it to go on someone else.
I'm really surprised.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think that she had this
She's really
social
going
game.
I've not seen one person talk about her bad. I haven't personally seen it. I've watched feeds like a lot, but I haven't seen anyone say anything bad about her.
I don't either. I mean, every single person's ever mentioned Bailey so far has been, I like her, I trust her. And that's the two main things. And then it's like, oh, she was on the challenge, so she's a good competitor. So people are coming up with all these good qualities to work with Bailey. It's working really well. The only thing I can see working against Bailey is if Tyler decides to, for whatever reason, go against Bailey. But I've heard him talk about Bailey, and he talks about how he wants to work with Bailey. But Tyler's also weird. But we'll get into Tyler because there's so much to say about this guy. There's always so much to say about Tyler. But Bailey she's doing really well. At both sides view her as a number for them. Both sides seem to trust her. She's getting an insane amount of information. She seems to be involved in every conversation that's relevant to the game. So.
Swaggy's definitely been coaching her, I feel like, and he's done a good job. I can tell that he's like really sat down and talked to her about who she should trust and stuff. The one thing that I feel Bailey needs to worry about is her connection with Davon, because as soon as Davon might tank, she might tank too. So she needs to really watch herself being connected with Davon. But I mean, she can't really watch that because it's really hard to shake that them as a duo.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's really early in the game, so of course it's like you have to kind of gravitate towards the people that you get along with the most, and they clearly get along with each other more than they get along with anyone else in the house. So they're obviously going to be around each other a lot. The thing is, I want from both of them is that they try to spend more time away from each other, because it's already building up that stigma of, oh yeah, everyone knows Davon and Bailey are working together, and then obviously the worst thing that can happen to you this early on in the game is if people view you as like
a duo. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing it happen to Kaiser and Janelle right now. We see it every year with showmans. People don't like the idea of if you want to work with one of them, you have to work with both of them. So hopefully that stigma goes away soon. I think that Bailey just I don't know what it is. She just came in.
She's killing it.
She is. She's really doing a really good job at going out of her way to have a lot more. I think she's talked more strategy in this first 4 days than she did of all BB20. No hate, but
true.
she's really playing the game. Like it feels like a different player completely. It's almost like the challenge changed how she views competition games or something. Even though
she said it herself, she says she feels different. She says she's a different.
Well, yeah, she seems like a whole different person the way that she's playing this season. But anyways, I said that I wanted to talk about Tyler. There's so much to talk about Tyler. First thing I wanted to ask about Tyler is what do you think about this man's 80 final 2 deals he's already made in the game?
Okay, I'm speaking from my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Tyler. I know a lot of people are, but that's just me. I mean, honestly, he just needs to watch out for his sake, because a lot of people already see him as the same person from BB20, so he has to really dial down his reputation. I mean, honestly, he was definitely expecting Casey and Josh in there, so he wouldn't have to do half as much work. But now that he sees that he's by himself, I feel like he's relying more on individual bonds with people rather than groups and majority alliances.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Casey, Josh, and Paul not being on this season really threw off his whole strategy.
Yeah,
Because if they were on
that
the
fucked his
season,
game.
yeah, for sure. Because like if he was on the season, we would have a unit of 5 people already. My thing with
Yeah,
Tyler is that he's very good at just getting along with people. People like
yeah.
him. People like to talk to him. Like Davon's talked about how she wants to work with Tyler.
Oh my God, why does everybody want to work with him? So
Yeah, right.
confused.
I know the only person that's even talked about potentially going against Tyler was Kaser, and now he wants to work with Tyler. So Tyler's in a really
Oh,
good spot.
did you see when Enzo talked to Cody?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so I guess it was a joke, right? He was just kidding about the whole Tyler thing because because I guess there's kind of like an alliance like between them three in Memphis that's like unsolidified, but like they're kind of a
hmm
group. So he was just joking, but I think the way I seen it, he was throwing it out there to test Cody just to see what he says, you know. But
He he also mentioned it to Nicole. He didn't say Tyler's name specifically, but he just said he asked Cody if he should use it to backdoor somebody. He didn't say Tyler's name, but he mentioned it to Nicole.
yeah, and he did have a I will say this: yesterday or the day before that, he did have a conversation with Cody, and he asked Cody, "What do you think of Tyler?" Cody said, "I really like him, but at the same time, I think he could be a snake." So they both seem to like be questioning how much they
hmm
can trust Tyler, but
hmm
I think everyone's still like it's just
Likes him
weird.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone just likes him. You know, it's the social game that's enough to get you past the first 5 weeks of the game.
yeah.
My
I see him definitely going past 5 weeks.
Me too. My only thing is that the one thing Tyler's doing wrong is he's playing way too hard already because,
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier about how he can't really do the big alliance thing because he doesn't
hmm
have those people right off the back that he's 100% trusted like he did in his season that made it a lot easier to solidify a group. He's focusing so much on one-on-one relationships that he has a final two now with Davon, I think, Bailey,
Yeah. Yep.
David, um, fucking I'm trying to think who else.
Christmas.
Cody. Yeah, Christmas. He just made one with someone else earlier today. I forget who it was. I think it was Bailey actually, but I
I
think he
think
has one with Danielle. I'm not 100% sure.
the thing with Tyler, I feel like he's trying to compensate for how good he was in his season. He's trying to do just as good, if not better. And I feel like he's going to overplay because of that, which sucks because he was really good in 20. I see him being one of those players that fucks himself over rather than someone fucking him over.
I agree completely. I think that he's came into the season with this mindset that like, oh, I'm everyone views me as
Tyler.
a really, really, yeah, like everyone views me as this really good player. So that means everyone's going to target me right off the bat. And he's kind of forgetting the whole reason he did so good in BB20 was just that he was a really likable person that people just liked. So it was easy for them to trust him. So he's not having faith in his ability to just fly under the radar by just being a nice guy. People don't realize just being a nice is enough to get you to a certain point in the game, and then you can start leveling up. That was like Enzo's whole game the
Yeah.
first time he played. That's why he did so good. Same with Lane. I mean, some of the best social players, that's what they do. They're just nice for the first
Yeah.
like few weeks of the game, and then they turn up when they have to. Tyler's turning up right away, and it's just, he's gonna keep going up, 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 and up until he hits a ceiling point, and then it's too late for him to come back down. That's how
What
I see it.
what would you suggest Tyler do in this situation? Like, what do you think he should be doing instead of building all these final twos?
Right now, I think what I think he should be doing instead of building these final twos is focusing on figuring out who he can trust. Reading people in the best way he can, having open conversations with as many people as he can without solidifying any promises. The
Mm-hmm.
problem with this game right now is that the moment that you agree to that final two, you're telling somebody that you're never going to
Never gonna
backstab
put
them.
them up. Yeah,
Exactly. You're never nominating them. You're never voting against them. It's a promise that's very, very hard to keep when you have that final two deal with 5 people. So he needs to take it back a level and realize that the moment that he screws one of these people over, one of these people have a conversation with the other, that his game blows up
it's
completely.
over.
Exactly.
And
Like,
by the
yeah.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, he's completely forgetting the fact that Bailey and Cody have a really close relationship. One of the first people Cody said he will not nominate was Bailey. If they have a
Yeah,
conversation and they both say, "Oh yeah, we both have a final two deal with Tyler," there you go, Tyler. Your whole game's over. 2 people are now coming after you, and they're telling the rest of the house that you can't be trusted.
exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Like, other than that, I think that he's doing a really good job in terms of, like, people. Everyone likes him. I don't think there's a single person that said, "Oh, I don't like Tyler," or, "Oh, Tyler is," like, even the people that say Tyler's a threat. Like, there's maybe like 3 people are like, "Oh yeah, Tyler's really good," but they end it
They
by
still want to
saying, "Oh,
work
I
with
really
him.
like him." Yeah, exactly. Like Casey
Yeah,
and Janelle, like they want to get rid of David so they can work with Tyler and Cody. It's
yeah, that's
like
crazy.
everybody
Yeah,
wants something with Tyler. It's just he needs to stop promising so much. He can't make it so solidified, so
yeah.
guaranteed, essentially.
And if he does, like by luck, if he does get to the end, like he's definitely broken 1,000 bonds. Like, and he's probably not going to win. Even if he does get to the end, he's probably not going to win because like he has to break so many trust and bonds, and like people are really going to be mad at him if he does get to the end
Well, yeah,
already. Cause
you think he would have learned from his season that he lost because of
yeah,
this exact same reason. Like, his same thing he did is he promised too much that he couldn't deliver. That's
yeah,
why Bailey voted against him. People always bring up the fact that Bailey voted against him. It's because he broke a promise to Bailey, which was like at the beginning of the season. Tyler did the same thing in BB20. It was just in BB20, the house was split right in half, and the same thing's happening on this season, which is why it's not coming back to bite him so quickly.
yeah,
Is that when the house is split in half, people get really distracted. Tyler takes advantage of that, and that's what he's good at. He did the
yeah,
same thing where he made too many deals in BB20, and I called him out on it. He just got lucky that the house was so split in half that nobody ever talked to each other. He made the
yep,
mistake of making a final two deal with Cody and Bailey, though, who are on the same side, and that's why I think it could really hurt him this time.
yep. Definitely agree.
But with that being said, I think we should talk about another player who's really good socially, but not nearly as good strategically. He just won HOH. He's doing some weird things with this HOH. Let's talk about Cody because I think there's a lot to say. What are your opinions on Cody's game so far?
Okay. Winning the first HOH, okay, that's not bad. His noms, I find his noms not that bad. I mean, I understand why he did it. My problem with Cody is I really honestly I can't really even. There's so much going on with him. Like I can't even pinpoint one thing. So I'm gonna ask you, yeah, what do you find wrong with him? Because I can't even pinpoint like one thing.
Okay, the main thing I find wrong with Cody is that he's and this is my I'm gonna start off by saying I had a big issue with Janelle and Case when they first walked in the house, and that was that they were like, we're gonna try not to make it obvious that we're together, even though no matter what they did, people were gonna associate them together. My
Mm-hmm.
thing with Cody is that him going out of his way to try to make it so like to make it seem like he's not friends with Nicole, to me is
Yeah.
really ridiculous for his game because that just makes him look like a fucking liar. People are gonna be like, we know you're close with Nicole. Why are you trying to say that you're not? You may as well
Yep.
just admit it when people already know. It just makes you look bad. That's one thing I don't really like about Cody's game. It's just like you may as well just admit it. My number 2 thing is that he's really, really obvious with everything else. He's super obvious that
Mm-hmm.
he's close with Tyler. He literally said, let's run this house as Kaser was walking into the fucking room.
Oh
Like, what
yeah.
are you talking about? Why is Cody so obvious with his strategy with everyone else, but so secretive with the person he's obviously working with? It just doesn't make sense to me. I just don't think he has that strategic mindset to play Big Brother. I think he really needs a
Yeah.
Derek to
Derek.
be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I don't see him going far this season at all. He's like really easy to manipulate, and he's not really doing a good job yet. Again, of hiding his alliances. He's kind of spread out over the house. I mean, right now, maybe these first couple, like these 3 weeks, he might be good. I don't see Kevin coming after him. But other than that, yeah, he has really nothing going on for him other than him winning the first HOH and kind of building a okay alliance. But I mean, nothing solidified yet. I
Yeah,
don't really see much going for him.
that's what I'm saying. Like, winning the first HOH obviously made sense to me at the time. Now it makes no sense to me now that I know about all this pre-gaming stuff because
Yeah, they're like
now that
it's so redundant.
yeah, like now that I know that he already had all these alliances and deals coming into the game that he pretended like he didn't have just for the show. He didn't need that HOH at all. It just made him
Yeah,
look like a bigger fucking threat and put blood on his hands because he was going to go after Kaiser and Janelle, and they know. And then he ended up
exactly.
having to nominate Keisha and Kevin. So that's just 4 people that have a problem with him now. But
I think it would have been better for his game if he had just threw it to Ian in the first place. I mean, you can't really throw a competition, but if Ian had won that HOH, I think it would have been way better for Cody because that would just make Ian look even worse because he's already a winner. He's coming in beasting all these comps already, so he should have definitely threw that.
yeah, I think that it would have definitely worked out better for Cody's game, especially with the fact that Ian already went into the house with the mindset of like he wanted to work with Cody and he was trying to use that whole like you picked
Yeah,
Derek and I picked Dan thing to his advantage to make an alliance. I feel like there's just he would have been safe no matter what this week, and he
yeah,
wouldn't have
and
had to put blood in his hands.
he kept saying that he saw the group that he was in with the people that were competing in the HOH and he didn't feel comfortable. But I was looking at all the people. I'm like, I don't think any of them would really even think about nominating you. So it's just so stupid. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe if anyone in that group that would have nominated him, Nicole A, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe Nicole A. But other than that, I didn't really see anybody.
Well, yeah, nobody, no one else. I really don't. I just don't
Yeah,
think Cody's that person that people have on the radar as like a need to get out right away thing. But yeah,
yeah,
and
just paranoia kicked
yeah,
in.
his paranoia is through the roof. He's always questioning things, and that was his issue on season 16. And that's what it comes down to. It's like every time I think of Cody, I'm like, he is a really good social player that can win competitions, but he's just so bad at the strategical aspect of Big Brother.
Yeah,
Like, you need a Derek to do good. He just needs one. It sucks to say that he actually benefits from somebody manipulating his game completely, that it makes his game better, but it's the truth. He literally needs someone to play the game for him for it to be good.
his stats are so good in like the other aspects, but when you get to like strategy, it's just like the bare minimum. He's a 50 overall in strategy.
No badges, 50 overall strategical player. Like this guy, I don't
Yeah,
know what it is.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about yeah, Keisha and Kevin. Like, how do you think? What do you think they could have done, or was there any solution for them to do anything, or?
Well, Keisha is. I love Keisha. I loved her on BB
Me
Town. I
too.
wanted her back so badly. She's played this week so horribly, though. Her lack of
Yeah,
socializing with Cody or anyone on that side of the
not
house,
even
really.
talking to him. Oh my gosh.
Exactly. She didn't say anything, and she made it very clear that she was close to Janelle and Kaser. So if you can't nominate them two, you have to nominate Keisha. There's literally no other option. It's just blood on your
Yeah,
hands if you nominate anyone else. And then with Kevin, Kevin almost saved himself with that last second conversation. So I
yeah,
think there's almost nothing Kevin could have done to really save himself. That conversation was like the most he could have done. He should have just done it maybe earlier.
earlier.
Exactly. Like
I
he should have tried something earlier is the most he could have done. I still think Cody should have nominated like Nicole A over him anyway. It would have
yeah,
made more sense to his game, but
I would definitely say yeah. If he had to talk to him early, I could definitely see Nicole A and Keisha being noms. If he had to just talk to him a lot earlier.
exactly yeah, exactly. It was just too little, too late at that point. Like there was like only so much more headspace I think Cody could fit information into. So, but
And they
yeah, I
both
mean,
seem. What are you saying?
I was gonna say, like, yeah, with Kevin, it's just like he had. Actually, no, you go. I was wondering who you just. I don't know. I lost my thought.
They're like both. You could tell they're both like out of the whole BB world. Like they're so like lost in the sauce. Like they're not even like here with us. So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know Keisha's like a completely different player. Like in her season, she was a
Yeah,
lot more social. She was a lot more willing to put up with people she didn't like just to be safe. Now she's like kind of if you're not one of these 3 people that I like, I'm probably not going to talk to you.
Vacation type stuff.
Exactly. She's just kind of there to be friends. I think that she's still uncomfortable in the atmosphere, and she's trying to get back into feeling like she's playing Big Brother again. Obviously, it's been a long while since she's been in the house. I just think she's not going to get the chance to finally feel comfortable in the environment again. I know it
She's
does
definitely
suck.
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, it's like there's only so much you can do if you're barely talking to people. Or like, I don't think she's talked to enough people in the house to have the votes. Like, there's not enough people she's had one-on-one conversations with to vote for her to stay.
The
Kevin, on the
only
other
way.
hand, yeah.
What are you saying?
I was gonna say, yeah.
The only way I see her staying is if, like, by some chance somebody changes something last minute. But I really don't see her staying yet.
Yeah, she'd have to be vetoed off the block to, I think, really because like when even Janelle and Kaser, like Kaser seems to be a lot more willing to try and save Keisha, but Janelle's like, I'm completely out at this point. Like, if she goes, she goes. I mean, Janelle literally said, "Oh, are we gonna be mad if Cody takes out our alliance member?" And Keisha, hell no, it's just a game. I don't care. You know, like, she doesn't give a shit. So it's like she has no one fighting for her, and she's barely fighting for herself. It just doesn't seem possible. And Kevin, on the other hand, he is playing a lot of a feel bad for me game right now, where he's kind of moping around and barely strategizing, but he made enough connections at the beginning of the game that people have a reason to keep him over Keisha, at least.
I was expecting a lot more from Kevin. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed, but I see he couldn't really do that much. I mean, in the position that he was in, like coming in with nobody, like I don't think he really knew that many people coming in anyway. So yeah, I kind of see why he's first nom, but like I'm a little disappointed. I want to see some more of his old. Same with Keisha, obviously, but yeah, I'm a little bit more disappointed in Kevin.
Well, yeah, me too, because Kevin was the better player on it, like his season compared to Keisha on her season. Keisha was great, but Kevin was like next level in terms of
he was gonna
win. Yeah, he was a
literally.
winner. He was literally going to win if he won that final HOH.
Yeah.
My thing with Kevin is the first 2 days he was doing so well. He's talked to everyone. Everyone fucking liked him. The only person he hadn't had a conversation with was Cody, hence why he ended up getting nominated.
The irony, yeah.
Exactly. And then it's just, I don't know what it is, but Kevin it's even in BB11, he had a hard time with, like, if he was being targeted or he knew someone wanted him out, he kind of like went into the zone where he for a couple days was kind of out of it. And once he got nominated by Cody, it was like he was done. And I get that it's probably his strategy to make himself look weaker. He was probably like he wants people to feel less threatened by him. Obviously, if he's talking a lot and he's out there socializing with everyone, it might give people more of a reason to be like, oh, he is better than Keisha. Let's just get rid of him now. Keep the weaker player. But
Danny, who was talking about that? Somebody was talking about, I think it was Christmas. Somebody was talking about maybe getting him out because he was good at the comp, at the veto. I can't remember, but
I must have missed that then.
Yeah, somebody was saying that he was good in the veto comp, so like maybe they should take him out. I think it was Christmas. She was saying that he was good in the comp, so maybe they should take him out.
Some dumb shit like that.
I know, right?
Yeah, of all people, of course, Christmas, the only person that thinks for a second, let's get rid of Kevin because he was decent at a veto competition. But yeah, I don't know. I think Kevin, needs to quickly realize that the whole moping around strategy is not going to work this season. I keep saying this. People think looking weak is going to be good in All-Stars, but everyone knows you're strong. Yeah. So the weaker you look, the less people want to work with you. They view you as an easy person to get rid of, an easy excuse, a no blood, elimination. You got to start playing harder. People need to just play. There's no excuse not to play this season.
Literally
everyone that's looked weak so far it's been used against them. Everyone.
Nicole A, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Davon too. Like they were mentioning, like when Danny was talking about like alliances, and anytime that somebody brought Davon as like an option to bring in, she would say, "Is she even good at comps?" So yeah, it's really just like people want people that are going to be strong and that are actually going to pull their weight. So you might as well play hard or don't play.
Exactly. At this point, I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, we have the two players that we've talked about as probably being the most out of it so far on the season, and they're both on the
Yeah.
block right now, with Ian and Nicole A being the next two probably most out of it players, also being mentioned as possible targets. David, who's playing stupid, also been mentioned as a possible target. It's very clear if you look weak to the season, you're a possible target. Just step it up. There's
Yeah.
no point.
Right. There's no point.
It's not a regular season. This is all stars we're talking about. I hate when people say that, but it's true. Like it's actually like there's a different mentality with the way people are playing this year.
Yeah. I can see if it was a regular season, but yeah, this is All Star, so yeah, you gotta step it up 1,000.
Yeah. So who did we just talk about? Why do I forget?
Kevin and Keisha, we just talked
Oh
about
yeah,
them.
okay. Let's talk about Kevin and Keisha. All right, my final thoughts on Kevin and Keisha is this: Kevin is most likely going to stay this week, but I still think he needs to step it up and start building relationships and working on those relationships that he's already built, because next week is still going to be there if he's around, and he needs to focus on not being up again the next week because he doesn't want
He
to be
needs to
stuck
win the
in that rut.
HOH.
Yeah, he definitely needs to win
Yeah.
that HOH for sure, just so he
Yeah.
can kind of put his print on the game. Keisha,
Yeah.
she's essentially not really doing anything at all. She's kind of starting to try more. She needs to just go all out already and just do something. I mean, she may as well just have Keisha's birthday fight like all over again at this point, because it will do something, at least make people talk about her more than they are
Right.
now. She needs to do something to be the center of attention at this point, because
Yeah.
it's just not working for her the way it's going right now. And that's my final thoughts on both of them.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Christmas yet. You mentioned Christmas, and I totally forgot that she was on this season.
Yeah,
But
me too.
yeah, but I gotta admit though,
She's
once you
doing
mentioned
good.
her, yeah, she's doing good. People like everyone's saying, "I like Christmas. I like Christmas. I want to work with Christmas." What's going on? Christmas is good at social game. That's the one thing that she was good in season 19, is that everyone liked her. The only
Yeah.
person that didn't like her was Cody, and the only reason why Cody didn't like her is because she was on the same team as Paul. That's the only reason. It's the only reason
Yeah.
he didn't like her. Everyone else loved Christmas, and I've always spoke highly of her social game. Yeah, of course, strategically, she didn't do jack shit on that season. She didn't do anything at all. But
Yep.
but that just seems to be the name of the game for the All-Star 2 players. Half of these people aren't really great strategically, but they're really good socially.
Yeah.
Christmas seems to be bringing that social game to All-Stars too. What do you think Christmas can do to really put herself in that contending spot for the win? What's going to take her from this middle pack, in my opinion, just kind of like middle of the pack right now, to top of the game?
Okay, I think she's playing it really out of maybe. I feel like Bailey's playing the best for me, and then I'll put Christmas in that row, like really next below Bailey. I think Christmas is doing a really good job. Honestly, she I can't really critique her game because I think she's doing really good, even though I don't like her at all. She's doing really good, so I can't really say anything bad because I really think she's doing good. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's actually really doing anything bad at all. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
can't
think
critique anything.
Yeah, I know. Right? I think actually the only person in the game that is actually good for to throw competitions is probably Christmas and Bailey. Like they're the only ones that shouldn't be winning, just because
Yeah,
they're kind of in such a good spot socially. There's not too much to say about Christmas because she hasn't done a lot, but this is only 4 days in. I mean, the fact that so many people have already done so much is probably not a good thing anyway.
uh,
So it's probably good
yeah.
that
I
she
think
hasn't done a lot.
everybody's probably forgot about her already, as we have already too. So
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
really think that they really care for Christmas at this point. I could see her coming a threat, maybe jury, but other than that, I don't see her being a threat anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. I think that she'll eventually become a threat when like
The good players are out, so
yeah.
the
Like once
scraps
she's
are left.
pretty much once she starts winning competitions and people are like, oh wait, maybe get
Oh,
rid of
Christmas
her
is here.
because she can ruin stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, so yeah, Christmas. There just isn't a lot to say about Christmas. You know,
yeah. She gets an A for
yeah, she gets a.
she's doing
She's in a
good.
really good spot. She's in a really good spot. Someone else who's in a really good spot, but might be doing a little too much, especially a little too much yapping to other players, is Danielle. What do you think about her game?
I was gonna say Danielle. I don't know. I see her definitely being. She's already doing like a Netta, because she is going like downhill. Fans are not really happy with her, but she's playing for her, which I understand. She's being really ruthless. As for things that she's doing bad, she needs to stop throwing people under the bus. And I think a lot of people are catching on to her. Like when she has conversations with people, she asks them questions, but she doesn't give them any information. And a lot of people are catching on to that and kind of getting sketched out with her. And a lot of people already see her as somebody they should take out. Not now, but when it gets really nitty and gritty. So she's in a good position for right now, but I definitely see her becoming a target in pre-jury, honestly.
Yeah, with Danielle, I think she's doing a really, really good job right now in terms of like, she's having conversations with everyone that's important to have conversations with. She's getting in. We talked about how Bailey is getting a lot of information. Danielle's probably getting even more information than Bailey is.
Yeah, true.
And my only thing with Danielle is, why is she already so trusting in Cody and Nicole? Like, I just don't understand
Yeah,
why she
this
trusts
is
them.
odd.
Yeah, it's just weird. Why does she trust them so much to give every little bit of information that she gets? The one thing in Big Brother that you can use is leverage. She should know this. She's played fucking twice. You should know that the most important thing in the game is information. Keep that to yourself and only use a little bit of it to get you more information. Yet she just gives it all up. And she doesn't get anything back because what the hell did Nicole and Cody tell her? Nothing. They don't know shit.
Right. And again, it goes back to preseason alliances. So she already has trust in Nicole. Apparently she has trust in Cody. So that's pretty. It's these preseason alliances. I already said a lot of these people for past pre-jury. So yeah, she's not really doing anything bad other than like telling all her information to Nicole and Cody. Uh, the one thing I would say maybe she could do is maybe just stop name dropping like Nicole and Devon, because not Nicole and Devon, Bailey and Devon, because I feel like that's eventually gonna come back to haunt her.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, everyone's like, "Hey, I like Davon," and then she's always like, "Oh, can we really trust Davon?" Like, it's just
Yeah,
unnecessary at this point in time.
I see her butting heads with a lot of people this season. Is it just me, or I really
Oh
see her?
no, well, people people always love Danielle. I get it's really easy to ignore everything that's like every flaw in Danielle's game when she's the underdog every season and people like the underdog and root for her. Danielle's extremely
Yeah,
confrontational. Everyone on season 8 hated her because they thought she was really bratty and butted heads with every person on the cast. And everyone in BB13 didn't like her because she stabbed everyone that she looked with on the back almost instantly. There's a reason why Danielle doesn't get very far in the game without, winning every competition. It's because she does a lot to make people not like her. I mean, I
yeah,
love Danielle. It's fun to watch, but she does not get along with other people. And you can already
yeah,
see her starting to dislike people for literally no reason. She went on about how she doesn't like Janelle and doesn't like Davon, doesn't like this person, that person. It's like, why?
yeah. She definitely needs to watch out. I think she's doing good so far, yeah. But other than that, she's doing good. She needs to watch. She needs to watch, yeah, what she says. That's not my only critique for her. Watch what she says.
Yeah, she definitely needs to watch her. Main thing is she definitely needs to watch what she says. My other thing is she needs to be a little more aware of what's going on around her. I just think she has no reason to like. She has no reason to not trust, like, want to work with, like, want to make some sort of alliance with Janelle and Kaser just to protect her when she knows they have no one else. She
Yeah,
has no
she's
reason to
set in her
trust Tyler
ways.
so much. Yeah, she really is set in her ways. I don't know what it is. She's like not willing to budge. Essentially, she's like stuck in this situation. Like every time someone mentions Tyler to her too, she's like, "Oh yeah, but he's so nice. I really like him though." It's like, why
Yeah,
Tyler? Why are you so fucking set on working with Tyler?
if she's not willing to adapt and change around who she works with, I don't see her going far. Yeah, she's definitely someone that I feel like will be stuck to one alliance, and that's gonna like fuck her over.
Yeah, I agree, especially since I really feel like on the side of the house that she's on, right? It's like right now it's not as obvious because she's very clearly above so many people on the pecking order that it seems like she's on the top. But really, she's kind of on the bottom for alliance because Nicole's gonna pick
Yeah,
Cody over her. Cody's gonna pick Nicole. Tyler and Cody are gonna pick each other over her. Like
yeah,
they're gonna pick Enzo over her too. Like they all like Enzo seems like more than they like Danielle. They've already had conversations about, oh, I don't know if I can trust Danielle. I'm questionable of Danielle. She's a really good player. I just feel like she's not opening herself up to the other options that she has in front of her.
yeah. I feel like the other people on the other side are more acceptable to her, and she would probably be maybe like one of the top people of any alliance if she goes over to the other side. But now, for now, she's at the bottom of her alliance. Yeah, definitely, I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
She's really expendable.
Yeah, she's definitely super expendable, and everyone has every reason to get rid of her because she's proven she's such a huge threat in her past seasons, winning so many. I mean, she's tied for the most amount of vetoes won in a single season. I mean, like, there's so many
Yeah,
reasons to say, like, to explain why you would want to get rid of Danielle. It's almost hard to argue with
I mean,
you
even
have
her
to pick the
dad was
right people.
confused.
Yeah.
So if he's confused, then it's pretty safe to say we're all confused.
Yeah, honestly, the last thing I expected was Danielle to work with all the new school players instead of and go after all the old school players because she's an old school player. I don't
Yeah,
understand
she's an
what's
old school
happening.
player. I'm so confused.
At least with Enzo, it almost kind of makes sense because he's kind of right there in that mid school position where he could go either way, and it's like, all right,
Oh,
fine.
speaking of Enzo, yeah, I definitely think he's playing one of the best games right now. He's up there with Bailey and Christmas. I
Yeah,
feel like he's in one of the best spots.
yeah. This is the thing about Enzo is he's so extremely underestimated, and his ability to play what is the most important part of the pre-jury game. And this goes back into every season we've had. And I can go to season 19, and Kevin played the perfect pre-jury game. And I can go to um, season fucking, even like season 20 and say, Scotty even played like the perfect pre-jury game in a sense, or like all these other great players. And it's just that the most important aspect of the pre-jury stage of the game is just being a person people like to be around. Enzo's
Yeah,
so funny and fun. People just
every
like
time.
talking to him.
Yeah, yeah. Every time someone brings him up, it's a positive in a positive light. Um, he needs to calm down competition wise. Yeah, winning veto this week was so unnecessary. Oh my god, so unnecessary.
My thing with him winning the veto, I think it was good for him to win the veto, and here's two reasons why. One thing is that it solidified him in terms of his positioning with other players in the house because people
Hmm.
were questioning was like, oh yeah, we all like Enzo, but Enzo's not good at competitions. He can't win. Well, that's thrown out the window now. He won the very first power veto and just proved that he can win competitions. He's a different kind of player. And number two, it people can't say he's playing the exact same game all over again because his
Yeah,
whole game the first time was losing competitions and not looking like a threat. Well, now he's won a competition and he's clearly playing a completely different game in that aspect that it kind
yeah,
of throws people off in terms of what they think of Enzo, where maybe people aren't going to be as sketchy of him. Like when they first walked in the house, everyone's like, Enzo's going to play the exact same game. I expect Enzo to make the guys alliance and do this and that and do this and that. And now he's kind of looking like a completely different player that people might not use that against him as much. I think that he kind of had to do that just to kind of get that stigma of Enzo's just going to do the same thing all over again out of people's head.
yeah. And he keeps on mentioning like he's not trying to play the same game, which is good. I mean, he's proven that he's not trying to play the same game, so I give him props. Um, but yeah, I think he's doing really good. I see him going far too.
Yeah, he's just so good at is like Enzo's always been really underrated as in his social game. His social game has always been incredible. He's just really good at getting along with people and getting people to like him. And I've always said this in Big Brother, if people are sharing like if fans love you because you're telling hilarious stories, chances are everyone in the house does. We've seen it with Justin on Big Brother Over the Top. We've seen it with James in season 17, Kevin in 19. All these players that people love to just like kind of sit around like they're a campfire and listen to them tell stories. That's basically Enzo's game right now. He just tells all these funny, hysterical stories about how he got the meow meow nickname or whatever else, and then people love him because of it. And that's the perfect way to kind of float. I'm gonna use in with quotation marks, float your way through the first few weeks without being known as a threat because people just like you enough to want to keep you around.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, he's definitely he if he keeps it up, he's going all the way to the end. I feel like too. He's another
Yeah,
one that I can
Enzo's
see.
definitely someone I can see going very, very far. Because Enzo's not just social game; he also has really, 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 really good strategical gameplay. I also like that, like you said, he's obviously not playing the same game anymore. People expect him to make an all guys alliance. It doesn't seem like that's ever happening. He's made it really clear he wants to work with Bailey and Davon. They. I don't think an all guys alliance is in the cards for Enzo this season, which shocked even me. I thought he was going to do it too. I thought Brigade
Yeah,
2.0 was happening, but
me too. I actually really thought it was gonna be Tyler, Cody, and Enzo. But I mean, they have a little group formed, but they're integrating the girls in there. So yeah.
yeah. There's like that kind of unspoken like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
this guy's thing is kind of there, but I still think I think that every one of those guys very obviously has a girl they'd rather work with anyway, and I think that
yeah,
Enzo's included in that, and having other people he'd rather work with ultimately than that group specifically. So
yep.
but yeah, I think Enzo is playing off these first few weeks perfectly. I think that he just needs to keep doing what he's doing so far, and he's going to get far. I do think that like the toning down competition thing is definitely right. Like he won one veto. He proved he's willing to win competitions this season. He
Now chill
proved he's
down.
not trying to look less threatening. Now he should probably not win another one until like we hit jury at least. Then
Yeah.
maybe start winning again. Would be nice. It would definitely be pretty cool to see Enzo become a fucking
HOH.
competition beast.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah. His personality gets him halfway through the game already. So yeah, definitely agree.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's just like I bring it back to Kevin from season 19 because I think no one gives him credit for this because he threw his game away at the end. But people always forget Kevin had one of the greatest like likable personalities on that season to the point where people were like they were gonna bring him to the end no matter what just because they liked him. Just
yeah,
because he
looking
was
back,
entertaining.
I definitely see Kevin winning too. That's just a side note, but yeah, I definitely agree with you.
But yeah, so yeah, I thought Kevin was gonna win too there for a little while, but he kind of threw his game away at the end when he started getting really aggressive with everybody for some reason. He just started like, I don't know what it was. Season 19, everyone was put under spell by Final Six, where they just wanted Paul to win no matter what, so they stopped playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Enzo's pretty set at this point. So we talked about a lot of people so far, but one person we haven't talked about is someone who I think is kind of a question mark, but I think can be really dangerous in this game if she plays her cards right. I think we need to talk about Nicole A. What do you think about her gameplay right now?
I can see her going any minute. I hate to say it. I really like Nicole, but I see her going any minute. She doesn't really have any connection with the other side that much. She's the only people I see her working with right now is Davon, Bailey, Kevin, and Ian. But other than that, I haven't really. I mean, I could be wrong, but I haven't seen her really like try to forge anything with the other people outside of that group.
Yeah, I agree. I say that Nicole could be a really dangerous player if she plays her cards right because Nicole
Yeah,
has this way of
underdog.
yeah, she has this way of making. She's really likable. She's like this really sweet, innocent type that
Hmm.
people like to that people would like to protect and want to work with, but not view as a threat. And I think that she could really use that to her advantage. But I don't know what it is. She had the same issue in her original season, where at the beginning of the game, she kind of just sticks to herself and a few people that she feels comfortable with, and she doesn't
Hmm.
really reach out of that group for like a few weeks. The difference about BB21 was that if you weren't white, you were instantly getting evicted no matter what. So it was really easy to keep yourself protected without actually having to do anything, and then eventually play when it was finally time to play. This season's a
Right.
little different. Um, she's gonna have to play it real sooner than later if she wants to stay protected. So she needs to do something. Like she obviously has a relationship with Kaser and Janelle, and she has her thing with Ian. But is that enough? Because what does she really have outside of that? People are like, oh yeah, I like her, I want to work with her, but people still seem to kind of be hesitant and towards how much they trust her. So I think that if she just hops on just starts working on those relationships now, she'll be
if
good. But if
if
she
I could
waits too
compare,
long,
yeah, if I could compare it to like any player right now, I would compare it to like Ramsey. I feel like she's really just in her bubble, but like she's expendable to anybody. I feel like even the old school Alliance would use her in any situation. I feel like they would just use her to throw up as like a pawn. I mean, I really don't want her to go early, but I really do see her going early this season, which
Yeah,
sucks to see.
I agree. I honestly think that if Cody would go up to Kaser and Janelle, if Kaser were to win HOH, I think no, not Kaser, Janelle actually. Sorry.
Yeah, Janelle.
Yeah, if Janelle was to actually win HOH and Cody were to actually go up to Janelle and say you have to nominate Nicole and then I'm going to be 100% loyalty going on. For some reason, Janelle's so bad at Big Brother, I think that she would actually take
She would
that deal
actually
and would
do
throw
it.
Nicole on the block.
Yep. It sucks, but
No
yeah,
hate
she just
against
needs.
Janelle or anything. She's just not good at strategy. She just isn't. It's just not her thing.
Yeah, good thing she has Kaser, I guess, but he's probably
Yeah.
going soon.
I mean, she doesn't. She's not like listening to anything he said. She's like,
At all.
I don't know why she isn't. Kaser, she's in terms of reading the house. Her and Kaser are both on par, knowing exactly what's happening. Yet they have completely different ideas on how to tackle it.
Kudos to
It
Kaser
sucks.
too. I think he has the best view of what the house is actually like. Everybody else is pretty incorrect except for Kaser. I feel like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Kaser, he's got it pinpoint literally perfectly. And I don't think he's actually gotten a single thing wrong other than his whole David idea, like him and Janelle's idea of
Yeah, I don't know
getting
what
rid
that
of
was
David
about.
doesn't even make sense. I don't know why
Um,
that's in his head, but other than that, he has everything pinpointed almost perfectly. The only thing that he's not getting is the Memphis and Enzo. They're the only two people
yeah,
that he hasn't got completely figured out yet.
yeah.
Um,
This vote will definitely tell him though. I feel like once
oh
he
yeah,
see
yeah.
how everyone's voting and like once he has conversations with them, I think he definitely will see that they're probably not on his side as much as he thinks they are.
I think he'll figure out Memphis for sure. Maybe not Enzo, just because Enzo has more of an excuse to vote out Keisha. Because with Memphis, there's no like with Memphis, they'll view it as a complete fucking betrayal because they had a whole fucking conversation, the four of them together, talking about like working together and stuff. And then
Yeah.
instantly Memphis went to Cody and went on about how Kaser's out of his mind, thinking that he has to work with Keisha. Like, because Memphis is on something for some reason, but yeah, I mean, my only thing with Kaser, he credible read on the house. Like I said, the only people that he hasn't figured out completely is Memphis and Enzo, and one is because Memphis is kind of playing this weird, like, unpredictable game where
Yeah,
he's
it's a
you can't really figure out what he's doing because it makes no sense, but it's thanks to pre-gaming, and then um, Enzo's just one of those players that he's really good at fogging, like your perception of him and making it seem like maybe he's on your side, maybe he's on the other side. Who knows? But
yep,
my only thing with
yep.
Kaser is that he talks too much. He told Danielle his whole strategy, and that was the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen anyone do in my
He
life.
did. I didn't see. Did he? What did he say?
Well, it was even before the safety suit. It was before he won the safety suit. Danielle comes up to him, just obviously fishing for information. It's just like, who do you think is a threat? And of course, Kaser goes, oh yeah, I'm really have my eye on Cody and Tyler. It's like Cody just won HOH. Why are
Uh,
you saying his name to people that you don't know you can trust?
yeah, he's
Eh,
stuck in that old school versus new school mentality. I feel like
yeah, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like him and Janelle view Danielle as someone they can work with, and
complete
Kaser's,
opposite.
yeah, exactly. It's a complete opposite. And Kaser's always been this person that's too trusting of people. Like we've seen it in BB6 when he threw the competition and got evicted. We've seen it in BB7 apparently when Janelle was going to pick him for the veto and he insisted on not going out, not playing because he thought for sure that it would be Howie instead of him because he made a deal with blah 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 and they wouldn't betray him. And that's just Kaser. I think Kaser's kind of growing out of that mentality a bit this season where he is questioning people,
Yeah,
but he's still saying too many names to people. Like he has no problem saying he has no problem saying, hey, Tyler, David, and Cody to like everybody that asks him. It's
do
just
you
like
do
that's
you
gonna
think
get
he's gonna
back to them.
exactly? Do you think he's gonna set a record for pre-jury 3 times this season?
Um, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see a world where Kaser makes the jury this season. I just don't
Yeah,
see
it
it.
sucks. It
Yeah,
sucks.
it does. It
At least
sucks so
jury,
much.
yeah, yeah. I really want him to make at least jury, but yeah,
Yeah, I'd
that's
love for him to make it fire, but I just don't see. I don't think it's possible at all. The safety suit changes it up, but I'm not even sure. Like, how does the safety suit thing work? Can you competing it like more than like twice in a row or no? Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's another thing. Yeah, they both competed in the competition, and so for the next weeks they can't compete in it at all anymore. So it was so dumb of them both doing it. Like, it really
So
made no
neither one of
sense.
them can ever compete in the safety suit again.
No, they can't because they
They're
both
done.
did it. Yeah.
There's
So I
no
was like, they waited
there's no way
last
they both
minute to
make
do it.
jury.
Yeah, they waited last minute to do it, and it was like a minute left, and they both decided to do it, and they both at the door like dumbasses waiting to get in. When she should have said, "I'll do it, and then you do it maybe next week." But yeah.
Yeah, only one of them should have done it. Like, obviously one of them had to do it. They figured out that Cody was going to nominate them. One of them had to. One of them's going home. It's just both of them shouldn't have done it.
I want to ask you this: if one of them, by the grace of God, one of them wins HOH next week, how do you think what do you think they should do to turn around their game so they could go a little more further in the game?
They have two options. They nominate either Cody and Nicole, or they nominate Nicole and Danielle. Those are the only two things that I see being the smartest possible move for them. It opens them up to working with the middle players more. I think if Cody goes up the second week, it makes Enzo want to work with him that much less because he views him as like a liability, and Enzo's kind of questioning whether or not he wants to work with Janelle. If Case were to win HOH next week and nominate Cody and strike a deal with Enzo, I think they could easily pull a player like Enzo onto their side. Enzo's already questioning Nicole F anyway, so if it's Cody and Nicole, it just gives him that much more of a reason to want to side with them. If they pull in Enzo, they can easily pull in, Davon and Bailey. And if they were to put up Cody and Nicole next week, I can see them gaining a lot more numbers in their favor to potentially get them to jury. And if not them, I feel like you have to nominate Nicole no matter what. Nicole has to go up.
Yeah, but I see Janelle maybe nominating Nicole. I actually see both of them nominating Nicole. It's just nominating Cody with them. I don't see them nominating Cody. That's the thing.
Yeah, sadly, I think it's gonna be Nicole and David, or it's gonna be one
Nicole
of
and
the
David.
Nicoles and David, I think.
Yeah, they're gonna do something completely stupid if they do win.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my god.
I think it's inevitable they're gonna do something really dumb. Has Janelle ever had an HOH that no hate against Janelle, but has Janelle ever had an HOH where you're like, damn, that was a really good move, Janelle? Like, I don't know. I didn't watch
No.
I haven't seen BB6 in forever, but every time I watch BB7, I always go through a lot of stages of what the hell are you doing, Janelle? Because she always takes out her own teammates or her own lines members.
Her whole BB7 run was like trash. But I mean, 6, her back was against the wall, so like every HOH move that she did was like justifiable. So, but other than that, yeah, she's never really had a good HOH.
Yeah, season 6 I'd say was her best season. Season 7 was just like she got rid of Marcellus. She essentially got rid of the whole season 6 alliance.
Yeah, she's. I want to see that Janelle though, like for TV reasons, like the entertainment reasons. But I mean, I don't think we're gonna get it. I think she's leaving early this season, unfortunately. But yeah.
Yeah, my hope is that before this week ends, because I think that I'm gonna be honest. I think that Case or Janelle will win HOH next week. I think one of them will.
Me too.
Because I think most are gonna throw it next week. So
Yeah,
I think and they're gonna be two of the only actually trying to win.
I see. I see it being some type of like either luck, but I don't know, for some reason I really don't see anybody else winning it except for Case and Janelle.
Yeah, me too. That I already have it set in my head like one of them are gonna win.
Or David.
Yeah, or David. I don't think so. I think David keeps telling people he's going for HOH. I don't think he's actually gonna go for HOH next week. I think he's
I
just
see him winning
that.
it by accident. If it's a luck one, I see him winning it by accident, like some stupid.
Oh, if it's one of those majority competitions where like the majority gets to like eliminate someone or something, like where like they have to, like one of those competitions where someone gets to answer right and they get to eliminate somebody. I could see David accidentally winning one of those, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because no one views him as a threat. Janelle and Kaser.
For some reason, but yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, Janelle and Kaser are setting getting rid of David, and that's the thing. I'm hoping something happens in these next 2 days that's enough to finally make Janelle and Kaser realize they have to go after an actual threat to their game. But
Uh,
I think they're set on this David thing.
I don't even see them like really waking up. The only thing I could potentially see is like maybe that big lion slips up and does something stupid. But other than that, I don't see them waking up anytime soon.
Yeah, me neither. My hopes is that something happens and Nicole F just like accidentally tells Jamil that
Panics,
Danielle doesn't like
right?
her. Yeah, like just something like that makes her realize, oh shit, maybe David's the least of our worries.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't see anything happening.
Or hopefully David just wins veto next week, and that way they have to make a real move. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it sucks to say that Cody somehow may be like 100% safe next week, even though he should be like the person half the house
Yeah.
wants to nominate. But oh, we'll see.
Did we talk about Nicole F?
We haven't really talked about Nicole F, have we? Okay, no. What is your thoughts on her so far? I have a lot to say.
She's going home soon. I
Yeah.
feel like her reputation is already bad. Rat Cole, like Davon, like in tonight's episode, Davon was even saying that she trusts her to an extent. She sees right through her. Yeah, I see her going really soon. The only way I could see her staying is if her alliance just wins comps back to back. That's the only reason I see her staying. But other than that, I don't see her. Yeah, I think she's going soon.
Yeah. At first, I viewed Nicole as someone that I thought was going to go deep because it seemed like everyone liked her. And
Mm-hmm.
then everyone actually started talking to people they actually liked and actually trusted. And almost everyone was questioning whether they wanted to work with her. Enzo is a great example. He said, oh, yeah, I love Nicole. And then the moment Nicole and Cody weren't around, it was, no, fuck Nicole. She's clearly like somebody I can't trust. Like, she's clearly good at the game. She's clearly a threat. And that's been everyone's. Davon. Davon was like, yeah, Nicole, I want to work with you. And then the people that she knew Davon, Nicole liked, she's like, yeah, I'd love to work with Nicole. And the moment they weren't around, it was, no, I'm never letting Nicole get the chance to screw me over again. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
clear that people don't want to actually trust Nicole, despite what they're telling, a certain small group of people that are obviously working with her. So it
Yep.
seems like she could be in a lot of danger if the wrong person wins HOH. Like if Davon were to win it too early, she doesn't have a lot of options because she's working with a lot of people. It could be really easy for her to throw Nicole on the block.
I see
But
like a
yeah,
backdoor situation with Davon. I don't think Davon. Do you think Davon would like put her up in her face, or would she backdoor her?
I feel like with the way that everything is laid out, I think she would have to put her up right away just because who else
Right
could
away.
she put up with that she wouldn't piss off, right?
True. True.
Because at least with Nicole,
Yeah.
she has a reason.
Yeah.
Everyone else she's talked to, like she has like a good relationship with almost everyone in the game. Where like she could
Oh
put a yeah.
no. Yeah. Ian Nicole. Yeah, I just thought about it. Ian and Nicole.
Nicole A.
Yeah. No, I see Davon throwing up Nicole F and Ian because she
Oh
talked
yeah,
about.
hundred
Yeah.
percent, 100%, 100%.
I just thought about it.
Yeah, those are the easiest nominations for sure because she has an excuse for both of them. A, they're both winners. Second, I don't know what it is with Dave Vaughn, but since the first day of BB17, she's used Ian as a example of someone she's viewed as a huge threat. Like I remember she had that conversation with Steve when Steve was panicking because everyone was coming after him in the first week and he felt uncomfortable. And Devon was like, "Your problem is that everyone's viewing you as an Ian, and Ian's a fucking great player that beat Dan. And he's like God, and that's why everyone's scared of you. Stop looking like Ian." And since then, she's made it very clear that she views Ian as a really, really good player. So I don't know what it is. She just views Ian as a top tier player of the game. So I think there's no way she doesn't eventually try to go after him. And then Nicole, it's like um, Nicole's a snake. Yeah, it's just what she is to Davon at this point. There's no
Yeah.
reason for Davon to trust her. So,
Yep. Definitely agree.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever. It's weird. Davon's the only person I've ever seen. I think respect Ian's gameplay this much. It's crazy to
Danielle
me.
said Danielle did say that Ian was one of the best, most underrated winners. She said that
Yeah,
earlier. So I mean, I actually agree too. I think Ian's one of the best winners. So they really need to watch out for him. But I do see him leaving soon because a
yeah.
lot of people are on him.
I think Ian's an underrated winner. I mean, we're gonna quickly talk about Ian's game. My only thing with Ian is that if you say Ian's a good winner, I mean, if you say Ian's a good player, you have to say Steve's a good player because they literally played the same game. I was thinking about it. I was like,
Actually,
yeah.
no, go. No, go. What were you saying?
I was thinking about it because I was like, because Dave Vaughn had said like Ian beat Dan, and that's what makes him one of the best players ever. And I was thinking about how Steve and them almost have an identical road to the finals where they played. Both of them were
Yeah.
targeted in the first week. Both of them were saved somehow. Steve won the veto to take himself off the block. Mike gave Ian that week of safety. After that, they both found themselves in a split house environment where they both put themselves in two different alliances, right? Steve worked with Jackie and them while also working with Vanessa and them. And then Ian had the Quack Pack, and then he had Mike, Boogie, and Frank. Both of them won HOH and a double eviction and screwed over one side of the house. Steve did it to
hmm
Jackie. Ian did it to Ashley. They both got called out for it instantly, yet both ended up flying under the radar for another couple of weeks until they both ended up dominating the rest of the season by winning all the competitions almost. And then at the end, the only difference is that Steve pulled the trigger and evicted the player that would have beat him, and then Ian took the player that could have beat him but ended up beating him anyway.
I actually like Steve. I think he deserved to win. That's
Yeah.
a controversial around the like when you talk to other players. Sometimes that's like a controversial topic, but yeah, I think he deserved to win.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. I think he was a really good player. I don't know.
how
I don't know why everyone hates his game.
how do you think he would have done in his house?
Steve,
Yeah, that's a tough one. I know that's a tough one, but I wonder how he would do in it.
I think he would actually do real. I think the difference between Steve and Ian and why Steve would have done really good in this environment is because I think Steve would have pre-gamed.
Yeah,
That's the only difference. I
and
think Steve would have
yeah,
been involved in all the pre-gaming stuff, especially since him and
yeah,
Dave Honor are still close friends.
friends. Yeah, he's rooting her on. I follow him on Twitter. He's funny.
Yeah, Steve is funny. I kind of wish Steve was on this. I don't know. I like Steve. I always like Steve. Steve was my winner pick preseason for season 17.
Yeah, he's a good winner. He's a really underrated.
The only reason people don't like him is because Evil Dick hates players that cry, and for some reason, everyone on Twitter will go with whatever Evil Dick says. So when he said, "I hate Steve and I hate Vanessa," everyone was like, "Screw Steve and Vanessa, they cry too much," or something stupid like that. but
Yeah,
but
Steve's a
yeah,
good
no.
winner.
Yeah, he was a really good winner. I was gonna do a whole YouTube video on why I thought his move to Vic Jackie was one of the smartest moves of the season and really underrated. But I think people
Uh,
would give me a lot of hate.
you should definitely do that because I'm really curious as to why you think that. I don't know. I can't really think why. I don't know why he did it. I haven't watched that season in a while, so I don't know why he really did it. But I
So
know he did to protect Becky, right? I mean, or protect.
no, he didn't do it to protect. Okay, this is the biggest misconception of that move. People always view it as a move that was meant to protect Vanessa
Yeah,
because
Vanessa.
Vanessa was supposed to go home in that double eviction. People always view it as like he was trying to protect Vanessa. He was playing Vanessa's game. So here's what really happened. I'm gonna break it down. Going into that double eviction, Steve wanted to throw the double eviction HOH. He accidentally won it. He tried to purposely pick the wrong answer. He ended up being the only person to pick the right answer. So he accidentally won the HOH. So he had to think of something to do last second. Now, here's what people always forget about Steve's position. He was perfectly positioned in the middle. He was working with everybody in the house at this point in time. So if he were to get rid of Vanessa, all he would have done is turn Austin, Liz, and Julia at the time, three of who would end up being his closest allies in the game the next 2 weeks, would have
hmm
went completely against him and would have put him at the top of the pecking order. And it also would have made it would have been a big mistake because him and Becky would be the two biggest threats in the game because they both made the two biggest moves, right? So
hmm
and then on the other side, he was working with John, James, and Meg, right? The only person in the house that he seemed to not trust was Becky. But if he went after Becky, and this is why he didn't go after Becky, people always question, well, I get that he didn't have to go after Steve, but why didn't he go after Becky? Well, it's because John said if he went after Becky, then that was over, and John was going to go after him. So his only way to
Yeah.
keep his alliance with John was to keep Becky safe. That's why he didn't nominate her. So here was the only other options were, well, okay, I don't want to go after Austin in the trio because if I go after one of them, then I have three people coming after me. If I go after Vanessa, I have three people coming after me. Plus, the entire other side of the house wanted Vanessa out anyway, so keeping Vanessa was a shield for him, right? So it made no sense to get rid of Vanessa. Why do their dirty work for them? So it came down to Jackie, Meg, and James. Well, James and Steve had a really, really good relationship, but some
Yeah.
people forget they were really close in the game. Actually, the week before they were playing pranks on each other and had grown to like a really, really good relationship. And then Meg is the Pawn Star at this point of the season. People wanted to keep her around just to throw her on the block. So
and by default, Jackie ended up evicting.
Exactly. By default, it has to be Jackie because Jackie, people underrated her strategical game. She was literally the entire reason Vanessa almost went home over Shelly. She was the one pushing for Vanessa to go the most. She was also the reason that Shelly ended up going home because she was the one that switched the vote last second. So she had taking over the kingpin role when Jason got evicted. She kind of took over the other side without anyone knowing. But the main reason why Steve had to get rid of Jackie was because if he didn't, Jackie could have taken that middle position that Steve was playing because everyone was blaming Becky for targeting Vanessa. So if he, for some reason, let's say, got rid of Becky instead, Vanessa's target would have went to, let's say, John instead, right? Because John was like second in command to Becky, and Jackie was viewed as someone that could work with both sides of the house. So she would have been protected for the next few weeks.
Oh, I see what he did. That's smart. It's really smart. I never really thought about that. I always thought he was from what I remember. I thought he was always going after. I thought he was going to try like backdoor Becky. So that's why he did that because I know him and Becky were like at odds. But now looking back, yeah, I definitely see why he did that.
Right? Like it's one of those moves that it's crazy to think about because he came up with the whole plan within 30 minutes because he did not want to win the HOH at all. He didn't even have an idea of what he was going to do in the double eviction. But it's a really good move when you really break it down. And then it's an even better move when you realize what he did right afterwards. People always critiqued him for crying about having to evict Jackie, but people forget Steve did exactly what Vanessa did all season. He used his emotions to manipulate the other side of the house. Another reason why he got rid of Jackie was because Vanessa said Jackie was a threat to him, and right before the double eviction, so he threw Vanessa under the bus and completely turned everyone against Vanessa, including even Austin and them, by saying she manipulated him and he completely cleared himself of any blood during that double eviction. So that entire side of the house that should have been targeting Steve because he very clearly chose a side completely forgave him and viewed him as weak-minded and was being manipulated by Vanessa. Just made them all want to get her out even more. It was crazy.
I hope we get some of that in this season. I don't know. That's some next level type of thinking. That's really impressive. I didn't really thought about it like that, so that's really impressive. Now I see why he did it in hindsight.
It's one of those moves that even I at first was kind of like, oh, that's kind of stupid. Why Jackie? Of all people, why Jackie?
Yeah,
But once I thought about it, it wasn't until he threw Vanessa under the bus with the crying did it click in my head what his plan was the whole time. And then he kind of explained it. He tried to explain it in the jury questioning when Jackie asked him. And that's when I was like, oh, this makes sense. I totally understand the move now.
So
yeah, that would be sick.
The obvious person for him to go after was Vanessa, right? Which was everyone was thinking. So I wonder if he had went after Vanessa, like how that season when it turned out. I think Austin maybe would have won, maybe, or what do you think?
I think it would have. Okay. Ooh. So let's say Steve, let's say John uses that power of veto. Steve ultimately decides, all right, whatever, I'm picking that side. Throw Vanessa. Vanessa goes home. I honestly believe at that point, the most likely winner to come out of the season is between three people. It's going to either be Becky, James, or Austin. Yeah. It has to be one of those three.
I agree. Yeah, I definitely see that.
It would have 100% had to be one of those three. And then I think Austin would have been the third on that option, though, just because I think at that point it would be everyone in the house versus him and the twins.
Yeah.
So he would have been at a disadvantage. But he was really, really – Austin's one of those really underrated players. Is really good socially, is really savvy, and really good at getting people to like him that people don't give him credit for.
Yeah. I think I mean – would you redo this whole All-Stars cast if you were in charge? I feel like they should. I don't know. This cast is a little wonky, in my opinion. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, it's like a Build-A-Bear cast in terms of like it's
yes,
kind of the most unpredictable thing I've ever
this is
seen.
like an alternative cast. If I had to say, like, this is
Yeah,
the Plan B cast.
yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, if I could pick any 16 players to go in the house and play, I would probably have a completely different cast. There's a
Yeah,
couple people there that I probably would have included on my list too, like Keisha, maybe not Kevin. Kevin would probably be all on my cast, but Enzo and Keisha would probably be the only two, if I'm being really honest. I think everyone else would have been
from
replaced by
this
someone
cast
else.
that you would keep.
Yeah, probably. I
Oh,
love it.
okay.
It's a good cast. I love it. But there's
Yeah,
just so many. If I had any option of any player ever, like I mean, come on, I'd have to pick like Danielle Reyes, Will Kirby, Derek, Dan, Vanessa. Like, I just have to bring back all the big players that we don't get to see defend their crown. I would just have to.
honestly, Derek not participating on this season kind of puts him down as one of the best players. Like, he's not one. Honestly, like, that kind of tarnished. Like, I understand why he didn't do it. I mean, he said something about his daughter and the same, but I mean, him not competing, like, it doesn't help prove that he's one of the best players.
Yeah, Derek saying no to this season and still
Yeah,
pre-gaming so hard for Cody just made
yeah,
me
it made
feel
me really
better about
dislike
him.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
really.
it pissed me off. It actually, like, I've always been someone that's defended Derek's gameplay and always said Derek's a really, really, and he is. And I've always
Hmm.
had him as my fourth greatest player of all time. And I've always felt like, oh, maybe I should have put him 3 over Danielle. But no, I'm 100% sticking with 4 now. I don't care.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
pre-gaming
Will
thing just
came
makes them
back.
look, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, like, Will came back. Dan came back. Yeah, like, there's no reason for you not to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I get why he didn't. Like, his daughter didn't want him to leave again for so long, and then obviously, this is kind of the worst time to have an All-Star season with the pandemic. I don't know. People are saying it's the best time. I think it's the worst time just because so many people are in such a weird situation where they
Hmm.
don't know what to do. Like, there's so many people that just couldn't say yes just because they don't know what's gonna happen. In the next couple of months, just with literally the rules of their country. So. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a complicated time. It makes sense why Derek had to say no ultimately at the end of the day. It's just I'm not gonna hold him not playing in All-Stars against him
Hmm.
because I mean I'm not gonna hold him against Dan for saying no. So
Yeah.
but the pre-gaming thing is just weird to I am gonna
Yeah.
hold the pre-gaming thing against both of them because why are you pre-gaming on a season you're not even on? I don't understand.
I really hope it doesn't ruin the season because this season does have potential to be actually one of the best. But yeah, I hope it doesn't really affect the outcome to too high of a degree.
I know I had at first when I heard this whole pre-gaming thing, I thought it was like a little pre-gaming, like all the obvious stuff, like like you know,
You're on. Yeah.
yeah, like Davon and Nicole and Cody and stuff like the obvious stuff, like the people that knew each other. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
Derek and Dan created a whole like fucking
Alliance.
pre-season alliance. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
what? That's just
Yeah.
too much to me. I think there's literally no way that it doesn't have an effect on the end, like the way the game ends, just because I don't think that it's just because well, basically the game's been being played for 2 weeks already. Like there's just relationships that are like almost unbreakable because they formed so far, like so long ago.
Let me ask you this: do you think the majority alliance is going to break up soon? If
Oh
so,
yeah.
when?
Okay. First things first, I think I need to make this clear because everyone keeps talking about a majority alliance. There technically isn't a majority alliance right now. There's nothing solidified. Right now, the only thing that's a majority alliance is just the fact that one player is working with this player, that's working with that player, that's working with that player. So people just kind of, by association kind of thing that's happening. I don't think that there's going to be a majority alliance that at all, really. I don't think it's going to happen because everyone seems to have a different thing they want to do, right? I think that, um, because like the idea is the majority alliance is Enzo, Cody, Memphis, Tyler, Danielle, Nicole, um, Enzo, and like Bailey, right? Like that's like the idea, but
Hmm.
all of them have a different idea of what they want to do, and all of them are questioning each other. Like Enzo doesn't trust Nicole, Nicole doesn't trust, you know, I don't know who she doesn't trust in that list actually, but Davon doesn't trust Nicole. Bailey doesn't trust Nicole. I don't think. Um, Danielle doesn't trust Davon, and and Enzo wants to work with Bailey and Davon, but doesn't want to work with Nicole necessarily. Danielle wants to work with Tyler, doesn't want to work with this person. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
8 will never actually work together. Like they will never function like an alliance would.
that's where Nicole A and Ian and all those outsiders like Kevin need to start try to break that up. But I mean, they're so oblivious. I feel like if
Yeah.
Kaser has a real conversation with those other players, then something really could happen this season. Something good can happen this season if he
Yeah.
gets all his facts straight before he and has an actual conversation with them.
Yeah, for sure. Ian and Kevin and Nicole A just need to wake up. Maybe not Ian as much. Yeah, Ian. Ian does too. The problem with
I'm so
all
lost.
the problem with all
No,
three of them is, yeah.
no, continue. What were you saying?
I was gonna say the problem with all three of their games so far is simply just the fact that they're so oblivious to what's happening outside of what they're doing that
Mm-hmm.
they don't realize that there's a whole game going on. It's just
Yeah.
like Ian doesn't realize all these relationships that are being built and all these alliances because he's only looking at the conversations he's having. He's not being very, aware of his surroundings. And that's the same thing that's happening with Kevin. That's the same thing that's happening with Nicole A. Is that they all kind of don't realize that this game is being played at quite the hyper speed the last couple of days, and they're starting to fall behind because of it. That's
Yeah.
why Kevin was so surprised when he got nominated. Kevin blamed Janelle for some reason. I don't know what that is, but he's that lost that he doesn't even realize that Janelle very clearly had no fucking ounce of an idea of him being nominated, let alone being the reason he was nominated. I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand. I don't know what it is. It's almost like Kevin's completely changed the way he played the game after one day. He went from
Yeah.
being the best social player in the house to being the worst strategical player I've ever seen because he believes everything Cody says to him and doesn't believe
I,
anything Janelle says. I don't understand. He's like a
and
different
again,
guy.
Kevin, he's never been nominated off the rip. Like, I guess this was really shocking to him. Like, he's never been in like such a vulnerable position, and from like the start. I mean, he wasn't nominated in his season until like almost the end. So like, yeah, this is probably really like a new experience for him.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe that's why
true.
he's acting out as much, like not really into it. I don't know.
Yeah, but even in his original season, he was such an adaptable player that he was the way that he played the game is he was always able to adapt to whatever shift happened in the house. Like when Jesse got backdoored or when um like let's say, if someone else won HOH, someone he didn't know, or this happened or that happened, like Kevin always had like a way to shift his game and get on the right person's good side. This season, it was almost like he couldn't believe that his conversation with Cody didn't work, and he actually did end up on the block, and he couldn't believe that his magic didn't work on somebody. And it's
Yeah,
like, I don't know. I just don't think. I love Kevin. He's an incredible player. He was incredible in season 11. We're seeing how all-star players react when they're not the best in the house, I guess. Like this is what happens when you go from the top to the bottom. But yeah, Kevin needs to try to find a way to adapt because he seems out of it.
I still have hope for him. I still think he can really turn around.
I do
He just
too.
has to get a grip on what's happening and put himself out there more to and be open to really creating a good alliance that will get him further, not just people you like. For instance,
Yeah, for sure. I think that a lot of the players that are on like the bottom quotations, like on people, that aren't in the inner circle quotations,
hmm
need to do is start focusing on trying to solidify a group because the benefit that they get from the top players not solidifying anything yet and still questioning on what they want to do to solidify an alliance and
Yep.
who they want to put in there is that they still have a lot of options and a lot of people they can go up to and convince to be on their side. They need to take advantage of that while they still have that option, because they'll
Yep.
lose that option soon. Eventually, that group of majority players that are in the inner circle will eventually be made if Kevin or Ian or Case or someone doesn't strike and try to make that group now. I think that people are being a little too hesitant on the whole I don't want to play too hard too fast thing. Someone has to solidify something before it's too late.
Yeah, but I see the hesitance at the same time. But I mean, yeah, they need to step it up.
Keisha definitely needs to do something. Is there any? Do you think there's anything Keisha really can do to flip these votes?
No, she's a dead fish. I mean, unfortunately, she's a victim of pre-gaming. So there's
Yeah,
nothing she can really do.
it sucks. It really sucks. Yeah, pre-gaming, I don't know what pre-gaming did. Keisha was so out of the pre-gaming loop that she didn't even know who Kaser was, apparently, going into the
Yeah,
house.
she was like, and who are you again? And she's like, I guess she's playing with like new people. I guess she feels like she's playing with like new people or something.
Yeah. Kaser was telling that story in the parking lot that he walked up to Keisha, asked if she was a fan of the show. They didn't even know each
Yeah.
other. That's how out of the loop these two are both in terms of the pre-gaming, is they didn't even know the other one was going to be on the show. They know so little about each other. They didn't even know the other one was ever played the game before. Like,
That's so surprising,
I know.
especially from her.
I think it's so surprising from both of them. I thought they were
Yeah,
both
both of them.
fans of the show, especially Kaser, because he watched last season. He must have been knowing about his All Stars thing then, because apparently he didn't watch season 10.
Yeah. And also Keisha, I heard she was an alternate, so she probably wasn't thinking she was going to get on anyway.
Yeah,
But that's another story.
Yeah, according to Janelle, the alternates were Memphis and Keisha for
Yeah.
Josh and Casey, which is probably the case because 1 second it
Do
was
this.
Josh and Casey. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. How would you have liked to see Josh and Casey on this season?
Well, there's two ways that I look at it. Okay, I'll say there's three ways that I look at it. One way is I think that it would have been really, really interesting to see Josh and Casey on the season just for the whole challenge dynamic, seeing how everything, like, it would have been cool going into the house, seeing, like, how Bailey had to adapt to two players in the house that she had past drama with from the challenge, and seeing four players from the challenge actually see like there's a challenge alliance that comes out of it, or if there's a rivalry that comes out of it, or if they target each other, or like how they tackle the game and how the challenge affects all their gameplay and how it affects the allegiances in the house and stuff. I think that could have been really interesting. It could have been like a nice little plot line. Another way I look at it is fuck no, because I never want to see Josh. Josh and Casey are like two of the players on every All-Star that's been rumored for this season. They're probably the two on the bottom of the list that I could have cared to see this season. No hate against either. I don't hate either one of them or anything. It's just there's so many other players I could have went with this season and watch play again.
Not a fan of both of them, but I would like to see Josh for entertainment reasons.
True.
I definitely see him bumping heads with like Janelle, everyone specifically, but Janelle. Like I definitely see them bumping heads. I would have liked to see Rachel this season, honestly. There's a lot of people just due to COVID and like life, people are not on there, but there's a lot of people I would have loved to see on here.
Yeah, we probably would have seen Jessica, Rachel, and Vanessa this season, but two of them are pregnant, and the other one just had what, 3 triplets? Was it triplets?
Wait, Vanessa
and her wife? They had triplets?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, you're not going to leave your kids, honestly, so yeah, I understand.
Right.
But
I would just had them, so.
I would have loved to see Vanessa play again.
I would have. Oh, yeah, I mean, that would have been amazing. I hear that she was supposed to be on season 18, said no to that. We know that there were supposed to be 4 vets on season 20. Vanessa was supposedly supposed to be one of them, and she also said no to that, but then that whole twist ended up getting dropped because it got leaked early, which is what I thought was going to happen to All Stars.
Paul, Vanessa, Tyler, Derek, Rachel, Jessica. that right there is already insane. I don't know who would win, honestly, with all that uh good gameplay.
I know it would have been insane. I think out of everyone that like was rumored, I think that ultimately didn't go on, aside from Derek and Dan, I'm probably the most disappointed with Paul not being on, just because I feel like
Yeah.
it would have been really interesting to see him play for a third time in this all-star dynamic, with him being probably one of the fresher, with him obviously being one of the fresher faces of being a dominating player. It would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like, his dynamics with like Nicole, Davon, and Christmas and all those other players. It would have just been interesting to see how it went on.
I would have liked to see how him and Tyler would have reacted. I wonder if they would work. I feel like they would work together, but I would also like to see who would be like the
The
better
better player.
strategist. Yeah, of the two,
Yeah.
because those are probably the two of the best modern day players. They're like up there, so I definitely would love to see that.
Yeah, it would have been super interesting. I think that in the of the modern day players, I have Paul at 3, Tyler at 4, Derek 1, Vanessa 2. But yeah, it would have been extremely interesting to see both of them play and how they tackled it. I just think it would have been really interesting to see another bigger name player thrown into the mix and just see like the reaction of everyone and how they all played. I
Yeah, we
kind of
need an
wish
All
this cast
Stars
was
3.
bigger. We do need an
Yeah,
All Stars 3.
they should have had 20. I feel like they should have had 20. It would have
Yeah,
made more sense.
20 for 20 years,
Yeah,
22nd season, All Stars 2. It just would have been great.
just get some bunk beds and call it a day.
Yes, exactly. Like, come on, man. They don't got to be that bougie.
Yeah.
Couple bunk beds, couple tents. I mean, come on. You had people living in a camp last season.
Literally.
But yeah, no, it would have been really. I just think it would have been really interesting. I know a lot of people are going to listen to this and be like, Paul, these guys want to see Paul again. But I mean, come on. Paul is an all-star worthy player, no matter how I want to
Yeah.
crack it.
I'm not a big fan of him, but yeah, I
Yeah.
would have liked to see him play again.
Yeah, he was hard to watch on season 19 because he was kind of an asshole, but he's incredible at Big Brother. I don't know what it is. I like how I said about Kaser. Kaser's one of those people I just don't think Big Brother is a game for him. Like, it's not a game he can do good in for some reason.
Maybe Survivor.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
see
Survivor. Who knows? Like, maybe he'll be better
big.
Survivor. But Paul is the opposite. Paul's one of those people, I don't know what it is. He's just naturally meant for Big Brother. He never watched the goddamn season of Big Brother before he first played, and he was great then, and he was great again the next fucking season. I don't know what it is. Paul is just Big Brother's in his blood for some reason.
He's good at adapting. Yeah, he's one of those really good players.
He is. I mean, it would be nice to see if Kaser can break his pre-jury curse this season.
And for some reason, I do see him doing it just for like, I feel like maybe production might intervene just so he can have like that full circle moment, like, oh, I made jury, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I think production is
they do play a hand.
They definitely play a hand. I mean, there's so much to prove it. I just think that with how much heat CBS has been under just in general, and Big Brother was under last season after all their controversy, I think they're just trying to have a good season this year. I think the moment they fuck up, like they already fucked up with the first competition, everyone calling them out for bias for the men. The men's maze over the females maze. I'm sure they're going to be very hesitant on the things they decide to do this year. They seem to be under a microscope, so I think they're a little worried there. I doubt they intervene. Maybe for Casers, because I don't think anyone in the world would even be upset about it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would. Yeah.
I think production could actually go into the HOH competition and throw everybody off of their pedestal and give Kaser the win, and people would be like, yeah, no, it's not rigged. Kaser's just great at the game. And
I'd probably be one of those people too. So
yeah, me too. I'd be like, no, it's not rigged. That's just Kaser. He's too good.
Yeah. But it's really crazy. This, like, I don't know about you, but it's crazy seeing like Janelle and Kaser and like these people on live feeds. It's like, wow, they played so long ago. It's really crazy.
Honestly, in comparison to I put out a whole cast, like a really shitty cast. I was like, this is exactly what CBS is going to give us. It's going to be garbage, right? And I just expected a bunch of new school players, not even likable new school players, like new school players that nobody wanted to see again.
Christmas, but
Yeah, Christmas is actually on my list of people I thought would come back. Everyone called me crazy. They're like, "No way they're bringing Christmas back." Well, look who's back in the house right now. That's crazy.
right.
But yeah, I actually did get a couple right. I think I got Christmas, Dave Vaughn, and Nicole Ray. Actually, I don't even know. I don't think Dave Vaughn was on my list. I think, but
Yeah.
I got Christmas and Nicole Ray. I knew they were gonna come back, but and Cody. I don't know how I figured that one out, but no, I think that they did a really good job with this cast. I think that it's really a diverse cast, age-wise, maturity-wise, ability-wise, skill-wise.
They did the best with what they were given.
Yeah, they did, because you gotta like take into consideration. Sure, we could have had like could there have been a way better All Stars cast? Yeah, but what does that take? People actually saying yes to it and actually doing it. You got to consider the fact that half the people they wanted said no. I mean, we can go into the amount of people that publicly posted that they were going to be on the season but said no. Daniel Reyes was asked. Paul was asked. Derek, Dan. Those are 4 incredible players that we could have loved to have on the season. Sure, they all said no. CBS can't force them to go on. So like,
I know.
Yeah.
No, I was saying I know. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but with the hand they were giving, the fact that we ended up with Keisha, Memphis, Kevin, Janelle, Kaser, like those are kind of to me out of left field. I never expected them to go,
That back.
and yeah, go that back and reach for like Kaser. I didn't think they would actually ask Danielle or Janelle again. Like I didn't think they would bring back, Keisha, Memphis, Enzo, Kevin. I mean, these are players that people have been asking for a decade, and they actually gave us them.
I thought they forgot about like seasons 8 through 13. Like I thought they forgot about everybody from those seasons. So yeah, it was surprising.
Me too.
Even Danielle, I was kind of like, just the fact that like she's already had her chance though, but I feel like it was really surprising to see her back. I didn't expect it. I don't know if you did, but I really didn't expect that.
I didn't either. Even when like the whole spoiler cast thing was going on, I did a podcast with Trenton, and I said, "Oh yeah, half of this cast is going to be wrong," and Danielle was one of the people I thought was definitely going to end up being wrong. I was wrong, and somehow the spoiler cast was completely correct. I don't know how the fuck. I don't know who leaked Evil Dick the entire All Stars cast, but
he knows every season. Oh my god! I
don't know how. I don't understand. After season 20, when him and everyone else in the world was wrong about the 4 returnees, I just didn't trust him anymore. Somehow, so I thought this whole All Stars thing was just BS, and somehow he had the whole cast right. I don't know how, but
I thought CBS was like discommunicated from him or something. But I mean, apparently he knows everything.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, but it's crazy. Like this All Stars 2 cast. If you would have asked me, what do I want for an All Stars 2 cast? The craziest part about this, like if you would have asked me a year ago or something, I would have put almost everyone that's on this cast on that list. I remember I had a list back in the day that had Memphis, Kevin, Enzo, and Keisha. Yeah, I never thought they would actually bring any of those players back onto the show. But my dream cast was like, oh, I'd love to see Memphis. He played an incredible game, but he got, that he just wasn't as good as Dan. Like I would love to see these kind of players come back that played great games. I think deserve another chance, another opportunity. But CBS will never bring these people back. And guess what? Somehow they did.
Yeah.
Even if it was last second,
Yeah.
And they were actually listening to fans. Fans were begging for Keisha to come back. And yes, Casey would have been on the season instead if she didn't test positive for COVID. But
I was surprised at Amber. She was an alternative. I would like to see her play again, honestly, too.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Amber play again. My only thing is I would rather see her on a redemption season than an All-Star season.
True.
Same thing with David.
David, yeah.
But we ended up getting David. I don't know how we ended up getting David. Oh, yeah, we got David because Paul dropped. That's what it was, yeah. Paul dropped, and we got David.
I feel like they needed diversity. Like, we had, like, no black. Well, is Kevin black? I don't know if Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's black, isn't he?
Okay. I heard he's, like, Asian and something. I don't know. But, yeah, they didn't have that much diversity, so I feel like that's where David kind of comes in.
Yeah, that's true. But David and Memphis were last-second alternatives, though.
Yeah.
Them and Keisha.
Yeah, who's Keisha in for? Who was she
Keisha's
replacing?
In for Casey.
Casey, and Memphis was for Josh.
Yeah, Memphis was for Josh. David was for Paul. Well, actually, David might have been for Josh because I think Paul dropped after Josh tested positive, and Memphis was for Paul. But either way, it was like Memphis and Keisha apparently got the call last second.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they were the last two alternatives, and then David. I don't know when David got the call.
I know Brittany declined.
Brittany declined? That's crazy.
Yeah, Janelle. Oh, yeah, Janelle's like telling like everything. Have you seen her on
Yeah.
She's like, I like every time she's on feeds, I go to her, like watch her because she's just like telling everything. But yeah, Brittany was supposed to. She declined. They asked her.
Paul declined. Well, he dropped last second. Dan and Derek obviously declined. We know that.
Yeah.
Danielle Reyes declined. We know that.
Was she really gonna be on? Like, was she like in sequester? I don't know. Like,
I don't
they
think
just
she was
asked her?
Okay, they asked her. I think that like at first she was hesitant on whether she was like it was like with Dan and Derek when they were first asked, they were really hesitant on whether they were gonna say. So that's why they were on the leaked cast. I think Danielle was really hesitant, but ended up saying no. She said it was because of the economy or something.
Oh, okay.
Because of the whole COVID thing, so she ended up saying no. But yeah, she was asked, and she was like there was a really good chance she was gonna be on the season, but she ended up saying no at the end of the day. I think Mike was asked. I know a lot of people are like, "That's crazy to think that Boogie was asked."
I can see that.
Yeah, because he was one of the first people to talk about the All Stars thing, right? Because he had that cameo where he was like, "Dun dun dun." You're gonna see a lot of familiar faces this season, but not mine though. Those fuckers can't afford me, or something like that. He said. So
I have a question. What's happened between Mike and Will? Like, are they not friends? Like, I heard something about
you don't know what
restraining order.
happened?
No, I wasn't like, I don't know what happened.
Okay, so you know the BB Tarek season with like Janelle, Alyssa, and all them.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the whole cast was supposed to be Big Brother, and what happened was Mike and Will were asked.
Oh.
And I guess Mike like forged like Will's signature or something to go on Amazing Race.
What?
And Will said no. Will was like he didn't want any part of it, right? Because he's done with reality TV. He only does the jury roundtable stuff. And I want to note this because no one's mentioned this, but literally since season 7 ended and Mike won, CBS has asked Will to be on multiple shows with Mike, and Will has only said no. Mike's only said yes. They asked him to be on Amazing Race after season 7. Mike said yes. Will said no. Literally on a radio interview, he just said, "I'm not doing it." He just said he wouldn't do it. And then in season 13, when the duos were brought back, before the duos were brought back, one of the duos that was asked was Mike and Will. Will said no. Mike said yes.
Oh.
They were also asked to do a Legends versus All-Stars season that they wanted to do, where they were going to bring back a bunch of legendary players like Will, Mike, Danielle, and them to go against All-Star players like Dan and other players at the time, right? Will said no, so they didn't want to do it anymore. The next season with the coaches, they asked Will. Mike was the alternative to Will. Will obviously said no. That's why Mike was on coaches. They tried to do the legend scenes again that season. They didn't do it because Will said no. There's so many seasons we could have had. We could have had All Stars 2 basically like 3 times, but they didn't do it because Will said no.
Will's such a good player. He's one of my favorite players too. Like, he's worth it. Honestly, if he is not part of it, yeah, cancel it. Honestly.
Yeah, I know you can't do a Legends versus All Star season without Will. You just can't do it. Like, it doesn't make like he's the legend of Big Brother. Like, you just can't do it. But essentially, the story is this: those are just a few. I just wanted to mention those. Those are just a few examples of the many times Will said no, and Mike couldn't do a CBS show because Will said no. So there was a couple other times they were asked for the Amazing Race. Same story. Mike said yes. Will said no. Will just doesn't want to do it anymore, right? He has like a real professional career that's really successful. Mike, on the other hand, is like fucking millions of dollars in debt.
I see why he would want to. But...
Right, exactly. So, anyways, they were asked to do it again. Apparently, Mike forged his signature. Will ended up saying, like, no, I'm not doing it. So, Mike harassed Will for, like, weeks, threatening him, like, I'm going to, like, you better do Amazing Race. You screwed me out of all this money. He had, like, there was a photo he emailed Will of, like, a gun pointed at like a picture of Will's family, and then like he was talking about like picking Will's kids up from school and like bringing them on a ride or something, and like he's basically threatening to kill Will and his family, right? And apparently he was doing the same thing to Ian, so they both filed a restraining order against him.
Dang, I did not know this. This is crazy.
And apparently Mike is in jail right now.
Yeah, they were talking about him on feeds. They were saying he's like, well, Janelle was talking shit about him, so it was just, dang, that's
Yeah,
sad.
it is sad. It's really sad because I was like, when I first heard about this All Stars thing, I was like, whoa, Mike, Boogie, Will, yeah. And then all this shit happened. Yeah, it's nuts. There's a reason why Will hasn't spoken on it because it's an actual like, I don't
I
know.
believe it though.
Yeah, Mike is like a literal threat to Will's life because yeah, it's kind of crazy. But basically, Will said no to Amazing Race, and Mike didn't like that.
That's crazy.
I know it's insane. I never imagined that something like this would be a thing, but yeah, that was just some of the crazy preseason drama that everyone was going on about. But
This was preseason for this season. This is just like just happened.
okay, no, all that stuff happened last year, like because of
Qatar.
the Amazing Race. Yeah,
Okay.
right. Because like you know how there was only 3 Big Brother teams. Well, apparently that season was supposed to be all Big Brother teams only, but like a bunch of teams said no, and then since a bunch of people said no, like a bunch of teams got dropped last second or something. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just changed the theme, right? But yeah, it was supposed to be a bunch of other teams, and then Mike and Will were one of those teams. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Apparently, it was threatening like Will and Ian's family and stuff. It's really fucked up.
That's crazy.
I know, it's insane. And man, holy shit. Yeah. Oh, but talking about feed stuff that was talked about. What are your thoughts on like Ian revealing how like fucking scarring season 14 was for him? Like, holy.
I believe it. I mean, that
Oh
whole
yeah, I
cast is
believe
just
it.
crazy. Even Janelle was like, that cast was like crazy. Like Danielle, like even have you looked at her like social media and stuff? Like Danielle Murphy,
Yeah, I'm not
like
gonna lie.
she's crazy. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, season 14 is crazy. There's not a single person that has come out and talked about season 14 from season 14 that has anything positive to say about season 14. Everyone has said shitty things about season 14. It's apparently like the worst experience anyone's ever went through.
It,
Like, and Ian's
besides,
not wrong. Like, if you watch
yeah,
the feeds of 14, they were horrible to Ian, especially the first week. Ooh.
that season's just odd in general. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it is about season 14. I just remember like everyone coming out when like Frank came back for season 18. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Frank seems like such a good guy, but on the feeds he was actually an asshole that harassed and bullied everyone."
I liked
And
Frank actually too. That sucks. I was like,
I
what the
know I
fuck is
loved
he
Frank, and
doing?
then I heard that, and yeah, fuck, yeah, I loved Frank on
Would you
season 14.
would you like to see him on All Stars with this season? Or
Now he ruined that with season 18. There was no way.
yeah, he had his chance with 18. Yeah, he really ruined that.
Season 18, he first of all, he proved that he could in no way, shape, or form play a legitimate, stable, strategical game because it falls apart every week. It just got worse and worse.
It did.
And then B, he sexually harassed a bunch of people because he was comfortable with it and he couldn't believe anyone else would be uncomfortable with it. So I don't know. I don't think Frank's allowed to be around other people anymore. I don't think I should be allowed around strangers.
Is it true he's related to Grogner?
Who?
Grogner, Allison Grogner, like the exec, the one with the curly hair?
Oh, I doubt it. I think that was just
I,
a meme.
okay, I heard he was actually like, that's like her nephew or something. But yeah, probably
I
not
don't
true,
think
but
so. I think people were just saying that because everyone kept saying season 18 was rigged because he was supposed to go home every week, but like someone from his team kept winning HOH, so he was safe.
literally Polly's the reason why he didn't go
Yeah,
home
Paulie
earlier.
was. It's funny because then Paulie was also like part of the reason why Frank ended up going home, which was the reason Paulie's game fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, season 18 is complicated.
Uh, yeah, season 18 was, I don't know, it had a good first half, and then after that it went kind of downhill for me.
Yeah, I agree. It was like everyone hated Frank and stuff, but I'm not gonna lie, Frank did add an element of the game that was interesting. Because here's the problem
Mm-hmm.
with all the newer school seasons, I'd say is that almost every season has this element of like one half of the house versus the other half of the house, or like this huge large majority versus this really small minority. Well, when that really small minority is out of the game, the rest of the game just becomes kind of predictable and boring because you
Boring,
already know
yeah.
who the kingpin is. And that's what happened with season 18. It was like, yeah, Frank, everyone hates Frank and everyone wants to get rid of Frank, but Frank is the only person that adds that other element of like, oh, there is an opposite side of the house. There is somebody who has like not who's willing to, make it, go into an argument with somebody and is willing to like defend themselves and try to play the game. That was the one positive element of Frank, is that he's not just going to sit down and do whatever Paulie wants because Paulie had majority at the time, right? And then like Davon left right after him, the only other player with a backbone essentially. And then kind of went downhill after that, in my opinion.
It sucks because like I feel like everybody's figuring out like the key to kind of winning Big Brother. Like everybody knows you have to be in the majority alliance. I feel like in order to kind of spice something up, I feel like they should come up with some type of twist that would kind of make it more difficult for a majority alliance to form. But I don't know how you can really do that. But I feel like in order to keep everybody on their toes and really like add a different element to the game, because like I can't remember a season that like from the newer seasons, like if you look back, every season has a majority alliance. It's like I think 17 well, I don't know. I can't remember the last season that like didn't really have a big majority alliance.
I think 15 probably, when I think about it. 15 would be the only one, just because 15 had a bunch of mini alliances like Amanda McRae, and then like Helen, Alyssa, Candace, and then like Howard and Spencer, and then like
True.
Aaron, Jeremy, Caitlin. Like they had like all these different mini fractions. There wasn't like a huge giant alliance. To like the biggest alliance was essentially the Exterminators, which was only created a week before like the end of it. Was like basically created
Almost
in
the
final
end.
six. Yeah, I hate when people say Exterminator is one of the greatest alliances ever. It's really not that hard to download the game, and
Oh,
there's
who
only two
says
other
that?
people in the game. Them, only them, only them, but still, only them. They're the only ones that say it. But still, even the fact that they're delusional enough to say that alliance that was created at the final six is one of the greatest alliances ever because they got to the end.
What is your all time alliance like of all time? I mean like big alliance. I don't want to say like duos because I'm saying like three or more.
All right. Brigade. I don't think
Oh
there's
yeah,
another answer.
yeah. I don't think there's enough. Yeah, I haven't seen like a really good successful, well, level 6. But I mean,
Yeah, level 6 was good, but level 6's biggest problem was that like the difference between level 6 and Brigade is, with Brigade you can break it down to the point where you can make an argument for every individual player being like a great player. And I don't think
hmm
you can do that with level 6. Like there's players in
yeah,
level 6, obviously like Rachel and Winston, that obviously are not good at the game.
yeah, true.
I think Quack Pack would be the only other one, but even that one was
Yeah, it
created
broke
later
up.
down the line, and
Yeah,
they were constantly going against each other, even though but they were just constantly against each other. Like they were constantly
yeah.
strategizing against each other, trying to get each other out. I don't think any alliance has worked together as a collective unit in the way that Brigade has done. Like they just didn't work in like a unstoppable fashion. But it's also questionable because technically it's more of a 3-person alliance than a 4-person alliance. So
Let me ask you this. Okay, for this season specifically, All Stars 2, what do you think is the key to win for any player? Like this could be any player. What do you think the key to win into this specific season? Seeing
I
all the players and everything.
I think that the key to win this season is going to be it's going to be who can play the middle the smartest. It,
Mm-hmm.
they're, it's whoever is going to be willing to allow two sides of the house to be created without picking a side and without making themselves a threat right off the bat, and just playing the middle very smartly, very strategically, and building a resume of their game towards the end that allows them to get the votes. But they don't make the mistake of choosing a side and screwing it over, or like turning people against you in the jury or something like that. I think that you have to be very, very precise on how you play. It is going to come down to like who's playing chess and who's playing checkers.
with the only tricky part of playing the middle is voting. Like, I wonder how can you get around that? Because I feel like that's the biggest curve with playing the middle.
That's true. And the thing is with playing, yeah, because that's the hard part of
It's
playing the
tough.
middle
Yeah.
is deciding if you want to make it easy and just vote with the majority and always be in the majority vote. That way you're not putting a little spotlight on you. Or do you want to vote with the minority? That way that you can play the middle longer. It is tricky. It is like a really hard thing to figure out. That's why I think it's going to come down to who can precisely make the right decisions.
It's gonna be honestly, who can flip back and forth to the right alliance at the right time.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's why when I think about who has a chance of winning, there's really only four names that come to mind right now that I think are the top of the pack. It's like Bailey, Devon, Enzo, and Memphis, just because I think they're the only four that have already created a spot where they're kind of already in that middle position and they could easily continue being in it.
That would be a perfect alliance right there.
That would be an
really
incredible alliance.
Devon, Bailey, Memphis, and Enzo. That would already make at least final six.
Yeah, that alliance would dominate so hard. That's how I know it's never going to happen, though, because I don't think
I know it sucks. It would never happen, but Enzo has said he does want to work with Bailey.
Yeah.
Memphis has said he wants to work with Bailey.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He said he likes Bailey. He didn't say that much about Davon. I know. Yeah, Enzo wants to work with Bailey and Day.
Yeah.
I don't know how Day feels about Memphis, and I don't know how Bailey feels about Memphis.
Yeah, I don't know how they feel about Enzo or Memphis, really.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Enzo feels about Memphis either.
Yeah, but I feel like that maybe they might happen. Maybe it might happen like later down the line, like the Exterminators type.
It probably will eventually happen because I think that it is important that we do acknowledge that these people are on All-Stars for a reason. They are smart enough to eventually figure out that alliance is the right move. It's just when will they figure it out?
Yeah,
I don't know when.
Timing.
Yeah, everything is about timing. I'm shocked that, like I said, that there hasn't been anything really solidified this early that isn't a Tyler Final Two. Normally, there's a lot more going on. Like Cody and like we go back to the Hitman. Hitman was made on day 2. We go back to the Brigade. The Brigade was made day 1 or 2. Like normally, big alliances that dominate the game are normally made within the first couple of days, and we haven't seen anything yet. So,
well, let me ask you. I wasn't like a really like at the first for example, because the only season I could really compare this to for like first week of feeds is BBOTT or whatever.
Right.
Like how does that compare to this like the first week? Because I didn't really watch. I watched BBOTT, but I didn't watch like the first week of feeds and stuff.
Well, OTT the very first week, and here's the big difference between OTT and this, is that normally with a newbie season, everyone's coming in open-minded, so things are like people are looking to try and find the people that they connect with the easiest. This season, people are already coming in with people they connect with easier, so things are like, how do I put it? It's weird.
They're already figured out, basically.
No,
they already know where.
It's this season is that the players are actually more open to working with more people. In OTT, people came in and the lines were drawn almost instantly.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember Danielle and like Jason like automatically becoming a duo.
Right. Well, you had the sisters; they instantly clicked, and then the sisters turned into the ball smashers almost instantly. Right, like it was a natural thing. All 4 of them really got along. They instantly connected. Danielle, Jason, Justin, and Christy, they instantly connected, right? And then you had Shane. The only difference in the first week compared to the other weeks was that Shelby and Jason had a really good connection at first that eventually broke apart because they were in 2 different alliances. Other than that, the first week of the game, lines were drawn, and the rest of the season was kind of like followed the path, basically. I think this season will be different in that aspect a bit.
So would you say this is probably, I mean, because we haven't seen the feeds the first week of any other season, so would you say that this season, this is like probably the first season where there's no line drawn within the first week?
Yeah,
like, I don't know
probably.
Any other season. Yeah, I can't name any other season that didn't have it like that.
Yeah, because looking back at other seasons that I remember them talking about the first week is
Mm-hmm.
like season 17. Like at first everyone was like working with everyone and everything was cool, and by the second week lines were completely drawn. Everything was completely different than what was expected. Like there was like a Shelly, Audrey, and Davon alliance week 1.
Oh,
Week
true.
2, they were all in completely different sides of the house, and
Definitely true.
like lines were completely drawn after that. I think that this season, I think that it's just the pre-existing relationships it kind of changes everything. So it's really hard to compare it since we'd never seen week 1 feeds,
I
right?
know this is something like we've never seen before, so you can't really compare it to any other season.
Exactly, like
Uh,
because we never had week 1 feeds before, and then like every other season, there's no pre-gaming because everyone's strangers normally, so it's so different.
I feel like these next 2 weeks are going to be some really good weeks. So I feel like this is when stuff's going to start happening. Hopefully, we see some fights and stuff. I mean, that's like one of, other than strategy and stuff. That's like one of my favorite parts of the show, like the
Yeah, I
people
love
butt
drama.
heads. Yeah, yeah. So I can't wait for that to happen. Who do you think? What's your prediction for the first argument?
Ooh, first argument. Sheesh. Um,
Danny, obviously.
yeah,
I really do.
I think it's either gonna be Janelle and Nicole
Oh yeah.
because they're already kind of butting heads, and they're it seems like they're both having trouble like playing fake with each other because they instantly go and talk trash about each other like the next conversation. It's gonna be that, or it's gonna be Janelle and Danielle.
Because Janelle's already getting the sense that Nicole doesn't like her. Like she keeps, I forgot who's telling her, but she's heard that Nicole thinks that she doesn't like her because of Rachel. So she's already kind of like sensing that Nicole doesn't like her, and I feel like she's getting that vibe.
Yeah, and Danielle and Nicole thought Janelle liked her, and then like just like right before we came on this podcast, right before the episode, Danielle and Nicole had a conversation. Danielle's like, "Oh yeah, no, Janelle hates you" or something, and Nicole's like, "Yeah, I think Janelle hates me because of Rachel and the whole Amazing Race thing." So yeah, that Amazing Race beef seems to play a huge part in why they'll never work together
So
because
much
they'll never trust
outside,
each other.
yeah, so much outside stuff. So you can't really, yeah, it's a bunch of outside drama and situations that are really affecting the season, unfortunately. So you can't really see it in its like rawish, purest form of how it would
I
play out
know.
because so much has already happened
I don't
before
know
the
why.
game even started.
I have no idea why Danny doesn't like Janelle. I don't get that,
Yeah, I thought they would work together.
but
Honestly, I was expecting them to work together.
Trent, dude, I don't know what it is about Trent. Trent called it right off the bat. He said Danielle's not gonna like Janelle, and I thought the same as you. I thought they were gonna work together 100%, but I guess
Two
not.
alpha females. Yeah, two alpha females.
Yeah, I feel like almost all the females in the game are alpha females, though,
Yeah, well, except for Nicole.
except for Christmas.
Well, Christmas, Christmas, and maybe the Nicoles, but yeah,
Yeah, Christmas and the Nicoles probably aren't, but the rest are like they're pretty alpha
alpha.
females. So
Yeah.
like that, I guess that's the one positive with the males. I don't think there's a single alpha male in the damn house.
Do you think
Maybe Enzo.
this? Oh yeah. Do you think this season is more lean female will win or male will win?
It's 100% going to lead to a male win, and
You think so?
yeah, everyone's saying it's going to be a female win, and here's why it's not going to be a female win, and and this is the reason why, because none of the females are seeming to willing to work together, aside
Yes.
from Bailey and Davon. If
Right.
the guys will 100% work together eventually, they'll realize at one point or another that if they work together, there you go, one of them will 100% win because the females are already going against each other. We already have Danielle and um, Nicole versus Janelle and Keisha. Like that's half of the females already butting heads. Nicole A is already being targeted by Nicole F and Danielle essentially, like just because she's outside of that whole group. You know, Danielle's already saying Davon's name. It's like how much longer until someone says Bailey's, right?
It's so ironic because like yeah, we were talking about Enzo like he didn't want to form a male alliance, but this is probably like one of the perfect seasons to probably do that.
It really is. I don't see how it hasn't happened. And they've already and Cody keeps saying like, I think there's going to be an all guys alliance eventually between him, Memphis, Enzo, and Tyler. And the only reason why it hasn't happened yet is because for some reason they all want Enzo to pretty much do it. I don't know
Oh,
why, but I
so
think everyone's waiting for Enzo to be the one that makes the guys alliance, and
do
he
you
just
think he
doesn't
will?
want to. I don't think he will. I think that he knows people expect him to do it, and that's why he won't do it. I think he's too smart. I think he's smart enough to know that the moment he does do it, people will figure it out because they already expect him to do it.
Hmm.
So I think somebody else will have to do it. I think Cody or Memphis will do it instead.
Very true. Very true. I think this would have been. It sucks. It would have been. I mean, I'm not really a fan of all males alliance, unless they're like, unless they're like brigadish type. Yeah. Other than that, I'm not really a fan of all male alliances. I'm more of an underdog. I like underdogs. I don't know. I always have.
I get you. I mean, I don't have a problem with like an all guys alliance or an all girls alliance. I just think that they're really risky and they're really hard to do because I feel like
You automatically put yourself out there as a target.
yeah,
Cause
that there's three reasons. There's that, two, they can be really obvious, and then three, I find that a group of all guys tend to lead to guys butting heads. A group of all girls tends to lead to girls butting heads. I just feel
mhm.
like people can't, for some reason, form a large group of the same sex and not start bumping heads for one reason or another. There's only some reason for it, right? Like there's only some reason why girls alliance falls apart. There's only some guy that wants to be the alpha and then another guy that wants to be an alpha, and that's why the all guys alliance decides to fall apart. Like it almost always happens.
Yeah, definitely.
The reason
Oh,
why
I just. What are you saying?
I was gonna say the reason why Brigade worked out was because they essentially were completely different people that understood that they each were like representative of a different role, and they understood that
Hmm.
they each needed each other, so none of them felt like they had to be the leader of the alliance. That's the reason it worked.
Yeah, definitely agree. I just read something. It says Kevin and Nicole A both want to put up Kaser and Janelle if they win HOH because it was an easy nom since they went for the safety suite. What do
No
you think about that?
way.
Yeah, I just read that. So I'm not surprised, but it's like, what
Yeah,
the
I'm
fuck?
not surprised because Kevin blames Janelle for I I don't understand why she blames Janelle, but he blames Janelle for his nomination. It's just insane to me that the essentially the reasoning for the nomination is they want to lay low, but people aren't realizing laying low is not an option. If you want to lay low, just don't win HOH.
Hmm.
Like, what do you get out of it then? If your whole purpose is to lay low and not make waves, why would you win HOH in the first place? But I don't know. It's just dumb. Nicole A. I'm having a hard time believing Nicole A. just admitted to wanting to nominate Janelle and Kaser, two of the only people to have conversations with her this week.
It's really sad.
It
I
is
don't
really
know.
sad.
I feel like a lot of them are not really playing. I don't know. I guess maybe it's his first week jitters or something, but a lot of them need to wake up.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them are falling into the curse of just of having that pack mentality. We have to follow the pack to stay safe.
Safe this first couple weeks.
Right. Except for the
It's just
problem is the pack is growing too large.
I feel like a lot of them came in with the same strategy. So it's just yeah, they're all thinking that they can slide by the first couple weeks, but
Yeah,
it
pretty
really
much.
can't happen.
Well, yeah, that's the issue. Half the house came in pre-gaming. The other half of the house
Want to
is
lay low.
five is yeah is like six people that all want to lay low and do nothing because I think that that's gonna keep them safe, and the two other people are Kaser and Janelle who want to do everything. So like everyone's coming in with this like unbalanced strategy. The only people that are really safe are the pre-gamers, to be honest.
Well, I want to go back to this. Why do you think Bailey's doing so good this season so far? Why do you think she's really like being like one of the top players?
Um, I think it's because she understands. I think it's because I think in her own head she's raised the stakes. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that now that she's already went through the experience of Big Brother, she's also went through the experience of a game that's kind of similar in terms of like socializing and strategizing, that she's
Mm-hmm.
kind of come to the realization now that because she played such a anti-social game in the challenge and her first season of Big Brother, that she's finally realized how important socializing is to winning a game like this, and that she's put socializing at the forefront of her um like what she wants to do, or what's most important to her. Like on her to-do list, the number one thing is to socialize, and that's how you should always want to play the game. And I think that she's proving that socializing is the most important aspect of the game. Like in season 20, her problem was that she isolated herself with like 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge, she kind of isolated herself with 4 or 5 people that she trusted. In this season, she's doing the opposite of that. She's talking to everybody. She's coming up with the reason to talk to anyone at any time.
I don't know if you keep up with like Bailey and Swaggy, but like apparently they're really rich now.
Yeah, they're
So
super rich.
yeah, she's coming in with the mentality like, okay, I already have money at home. This is just for fun, but I do want
Oh
to win at the
yeah.
same time. So I feel like she's not feel at pressure to have to win the money because I really need it. Like I feel like she's playing to win, but at the same time she's not in her head to like she has to. It's like the end of the world if she doesn't. And I really like that about her. I think she's the only probably well Memphis is well off too, but I feel like yeah, both of them are at that point where they're like, it's not do or die, but I'm gonna play to where I'm gonna give my all, but I don't really necessarily have to go out there to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. She's playing. She's playing with the mindset of that she fucking wants to finally win one of these reality shows without having to win. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't. But I don't know, because technically in season 20 she didn't have to win either, because like her family was always rich. Like she was always rich.
Hmm. But
I feel like it's mainly I think the thing now is that I think she's gotten to a point where she doesn't take the reality show stuff as
serious.
seriously.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And she just wants to win to prove that she can win one of these things, because she's lost twice now. She wants to win one of these things.
yeah. Would you be surprised seeing Davon win this season?
I don't know. Derek said he thought Davon is gonna win.
I could see it.
That's his winner pick. My thing is, I hate trying to predict winners based off the first 4 days of the game. It's almost
True,
impossible.
true.
But I will say, based off how she's playing right now, she has like, if she were like to continue playing the way she's playing and be able to continue not being on a lot of players' radars, like if you're only on Danielle's radar, who gives a shit? Like that's not that big of a deal. If she can
Right.
manage to stay off everyone else's radar, I very well could see her winning this season. My thing with Davon is Davon, every time she plays, she always turns it up too early. I don't know what it is. In
Mm-hmm.
season 18, she played just the way she's playing right now. She played the same way at the beginning of season 18. She was friends with
Mm-hmm.
everyone. She was a lot more in like a lot better at reading everything that was going on and figuring things out. She had great allies, and then like week 4, she just got really aggressive gameplay wise and strategy wise. Wanted to make a really big move, started playing really hard, and then it bit her in the ass, and she went home like 2 weeks later. And that's just how Davon is. She always starts off chill, but then she eventually gets to like, she's really competitive, I find, and then she
Yeah.
really wants to like do something in the game. If she can get past that, like that,
Mentality
oh
of I'm not doing enough.
yeah, exactly. If she can get past that mentality of that, like that mental roadblock of, oh shit, now I have to play really hard now because it's not week 1 anymore. And she can actually continue to lay low and continue to build relationships and not over strategize, then I could see her going far. But I don't know if she can get past that. We're too early on in the season, because I said this in season 18 that I thought she was going to go far, and then she did that. She just went too hard, too fast. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It comes down to whether or not she's able to keep her eyes on the prize.
Hopefully, I'm
I
rooting
think she
for her.
could. I think what Derek said was right about like I think she's learned from like what 2 seasons of Big Brother, 2 seasons of the challenge. I feel like she really wants to win now. I feel like if she doesn't, why keep saying yes to these reality shows? right?
Right. Yeah, there's
So
no point.
yeah, I think she's gonna bring, her A game strategy this season. That's why I think that she still is really like understanding what's going on in the house, but just playing it off like she doesn't. I think that she's just trying to play a lot smarter than she did in the previous seasons, where she would have instantly pointed out when she noticed something.
Yeah, we just need some DRs because honestly, I can't really tell what a lot of them are thinking, but I feel as soon as we see some episodes of some DRs, we'll
I
get
don't
a
know, because DRs are scripted, so I never know what the hell the truth is
true.
anymore.
Right. Did you watch tonight's episode?
No, I didn't watch. I don't watch episodes anymore because A, the only reason I used to was for DRs, and B, DRs are scripted. So
Oh, I mean, they seem. I mean, this is just the first couple episodes, the first episode with DRs, but it didn't seem scripted for this one. I'll give it that. It seemed kind of natural. So hopefully they bring them back like that. Just let them talk type of feel.
yeah,
Without
actually, I think the DRs might not be scripted anymore. I just totally remember, well, at least for this season, because I totally just remembered they did that instant DR interview with Cody after he won HOH for the first time in years. So yeah,
yeah,
they might not be as scripted this year. So I might need to watch episodes. I don't know. I always find episodes a little boring just because I always know what's gonna happen because I'm
right.
always keeping up with the feeds and stuff. So I'm like, there's no point. I put like 23 hours of my day into it. Why waste another hour watching the episode?
Right. I'm gonna just start watching the live evictions.
Yeah, I only watch. You have to watch the evictions. I always watch the evictions, just because they always get me hyped up, and then
Yeah.
I love watching the HOH afterwards, like excited for rooting for somebody. So
Oh, I hope they bring a lot of old competitions back. I really hope they do. This is like the perfect opportunity to do it. So I really hope they do.
yeah, I know. There's definitely some classics they need to bring back. Like, fuck.
The majority comps, yeah.
Oh, they definitely need to bring back some of the majority comps. I used to love those so much.
Yeah.
Um, Everyone always says they want pressure cooker back. I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah. I don't think they will, but
Yeah, I don't think they would.
yeah.
And all that it would do is just the best part about it is it would just piss off everybody that had to wait hours to find out who won HOH.
Right.
Everyone wants it back until we have to wait 10 hours to finally find out who won. Like nobody actually would like. I mean, like obviously people would love to watch the 20-minute edited version of it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of irritating that the only competition that gets brought back every year is like the bowling one, the race one,
Stupid. Yeah.
yeah, and
The
the
stupid
fucking
ones.
yeah, and OTEV, which I like
Yeah.
OTEV, and I like the racing one. I hate the bowling one. The bowling one's just stupid.
Stupid. Yeah, I don't
Oh,
like that
stupid
one.
as hell. I hate that one so much. But I do like the racing one just because I just find it funny. Oh, I did like it until Christmas won it somehow with a broken foot. Now I don't
Right.
like it anymore because I
She
realized
ruins
how easy
everything.
it is to fuck it up and just
Uh,
rig the competition.
well, Christmas for second boot, and hopefully they get her out soon, just for my satisfaction.
Honestly, though, it's like I know that the chances of Christmas leaving pre-jury are so low right now. It's not even
Slim,
funny.
like she's going far.
Oh yeah, she's going far. It sucks, but she's the perfect package to go far because she has a good social game, great at competitions, and then no one in the world thinks she's a threat because they're all like, "Yeah, you were nothing in your season.
On
You
your
had
season,
yeah,
yeah,
you had a broken foot and you followed Paul. That's all you did. That's
she's
what people
honestly like
remember
a
her
new
for."
player. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's like a new player. Like they don't know much about her.
exactly. Her and David.
Yeah,
But and then I don't
but
know, everyone's instantly connecting with Christmas. I don't know what it is about Christmas, but everyone that talks about her says I like Christmas. I want to work Christmas. I'm like, why Christmas? Get her
yeah.
the fuck out of here. I was like hoping she would go home this first week.
I think everybody was hoping she'd go home the first week, but yeah,
The worst part about this is Keisha's gonna go home week one. Christmas is gonna
fuck.
win. So CBS is gonna think, wow, these fans are dumb as fuck for wanting Keisha back and not Christmas. And then they're gonna think that they're smart as fuck for wanting Christmas back.
I
It's
could
a
see
fucking
Christmas
lose
winning
lose.
HOH. I could see her definitely winning HOH next week.
I think she'll throw it. I think she's a little bit smarter this season because now that she doesn't have the whole broken foot thing to lean on, is like I'm not a threat. she has to actually, not be a threat. So I think she'll try to throw it.
Well, okay, so the people that need to win the HOH next week are Janelle, Kevin, Kaser, Ian, and Nicole A.
I'd say Nicole F too.
Nicole F too? Yeah, man, Nicole F.
Just because if one of those people do win, like Nicole F's almost guaranteed to go up no matter who it is. Unless it actually apparently never mind because Kevin and Nicole A and Ian won't nominate her and Nicole. Dude, you know what? Take Kevin and Nicole A off the list just because if they do win, they're gonna throw two people that make no
Yeah.
sense apparently.
So yeah, I'm definitely rooting for I don't know.
I'm rooting for
I really,
Kaser.
yeah. Hopefully he changes his mind on the David situation. I
Yeah,
can see him changing his mind too, though. But
I think the only reason that he wants to go after David right now is because somehow Janelle convinced him with her senselessness. I don't understand why she wants David out. Why is Janelle like this? Why is it like, oh yeah,
I
Janelle, oh
don't
my gosh,
know.
you're so smart. You're figuring out everything in the house. You know who to trust and who not to trust. You're doing so good. And then it's like, yeah, that person that wanted to get rid of me this week, we're going to
Let's
save
keep him.
him and get rid of someone else who's doing nothing in the game right now. Literally nothing. Like, what?
Yeah. I guess they see him as some type of like mastermind. Because I mean, oh yeah, they talked about him beating Ian in chess.
Yeah, they're
So
like, oh, he's
apparently
so
he's really smart.
smart. Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
he's so smart. He beat Ian in chess. Let's get rid of David. And if we get rid of David, we'll be able to work with Tyler and Cody. Like, David's a roadblock blocking them from working. Like, David's not the reason that you can't work with Cody. Cody's the reason you can't work with Cody. Cody had a fucking 30-minute conversation with Enzo where they trashed Kaser because they just, for some reason, don't trust him. That had nothing to do with David.
Yeah, David's literally doing nothing.
Yeah, David's not doing anything. David is literally not responsible for the reason Janelle and Case almost went up. That was all Cody and Nicole. They were the only ones to say their names. Enzo is arguably the only. I think Enzo and Danielle will be the only other people that had influence on it. Other than that, no one else. Especially maybe in Memphis. Memphis is even more logical because Memphis trashed Kaser to everyone and said, there ain't no way I'm doing what Kaser wants, basically. Like, completely ratted him out for no reason. Yet, you want to go after David, the one person on that side of the house that didn't say your name?
But I think David will be fine, though. Honestly, I don't see him going anytime soon.
Because the thing is, I don't know. It depends who he's up against.
Because it's still like, again, I'm going to go back to like production. It's still like a story arc. I don't think they're really going to let him go. Like, that would be such a horrible story arc for David. Like, okay, you left the first time in an hour. Okay, we're just going to take you out the second week so you get some type of redemption. Like, I don't see that happening. I see him making it a lot farther.
I feel you, but I feel like it all comes down to who he's up against. Because the main reason why I think David's so good is because in my head I'm like, oh, well, the majority wouldn't nominate him, and there's no way the minority would go after him, right? But no, the minority wants to put him on the fucking block, and if they put him up against like fucking Tyler or Cody or Danielle, no one in the majority is gonna vote out one of them three over fucking David. Like, David's gone for sure if one of them are up against him, you know? It's like, fuck.
Who would they nominate him against?
I don't know. I mean, I'm probably thinking they're crazy asses might put up fucking Kevin. Like, I don't know. I don't understand what they're thinking.
They just gotta wake up, man.
Yeah, they really have to wake up because they're I don't know, they're reading everything and like they have everything right and then they take a fucking left turn and have everything wrong all of a sudden.
But again, it's week what? I mean, this is week 1 and day like what, 5?
Yeah, it's day 5.
I still have good like hope.
Yeah, I have
they won't
faith.
fuck it up horrible.
Yeah, I honestly don't see David get nominated next week. I really feel like they're just talking out their ass, you know, like I think they're making the mistake of over strategizing where like everything's makes sense and then you start talking so much that you start spewing bullshit for fun. And today, like later today, they'll have another conversation and they'll realize going after David doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they're not that dumb. I hope they're not.
I don't think they're that dumb. I think Janelle and Kaser, they've made some dumb mistakes, sure, but I don't think That dumb.
But Janelle's also unpredictable, so I could actually kind of see her doing it too, though. Like the
I
same
know.
on the same
Plus,
sentence.
I know. It's like fucking poetic justice that Janelle, of all people, is the one that come up with a plan to get rid of David. I don't understand why. I want to root for Janelle so bad, but I feel like every time I root for Janelle in a season, she does really bad moves.
Yeah, she's just
But she doesn't have a will in her ear 24/7 telling her to nominate David, which is why I feel like they won't do it at the end of the day.
true. Yeah, she doesn't have somebody over her. I feel like she's gonna do like 14. Like as soon as she like, it's just gonna be like she's gone in the first couple weeks. It's just gonna be like 14 again.
Yeah, I think so too. Though in season 14,
Her reputation, her
yeah,
reputation just
yeah, season
precedes her.
14 was the reputation and the Mike Boogie rivalry. She had no way of surviving that, even though
Yeah.
she tried so hard to play a smart game. Like she tried everything in her power to play a smart, lay low, align with the right people game.
Was she playing strategic? I didn't watch feeds or anything. I watched the
She,
episodes, but not the feeds.
I just remember her laying low a lot. Like she aligned herself with Brittany. Her team and Brittany's team were aligned. She seemed to have a decent relationship with almost everyone in the house. It was just the fact that Mike Boogie hated her, and then originally the plan was to get rid of Dan and wipe out Dan's team because he was such a huge threat. But then Dan and Mike uh, agreed to take out Janelle instead, and that's what saved Dan and got rid of Janelle.
It sucks.
And the only reason Mike decided to do it was because he wanted to fight Janelle. That's it. That was it.
Honestly, I would have liked to see him on this season just to see those two go back and forth.
I would too, but I think Mike is now deemed a literal threat to people's lives. I don't think he's ever going to play Big Brother ever again. That's out of the window. Could you imagine, though? Mike having to work with Janelle because there's no way he would have got through the season without doing that.
That would have
Actually,
been funny.
that would have been hilarious. But apparently Janelle hates Mike. Oh my goodness. Actually, I really think Mike would have done really poorly on this season because, yeah, Ian and Janelle. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
how
he
could you do
definitely
that?
would have.
Doesn't Ian have a restraining order against Mike too? So I don't think he would have
Oh yeah, they
been
wouldn't
allowed in
do
the
that.
house. Yeah. The moment he took step foot in the house, he would get swatted.
But yeah, I definitely enjoyed talking to you about this. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, dude, it was definitely fun, man. It's always fun to talk about, have like in-depth conversations about the cast and what's going on, especially this early, man. You
Yeah.
gotta come back on in like a couple days or something to talk about it again, because like things are totally gonna change and be completely
Yeah,
different.
definitely.
Probably get Trenton on too, or I have all three of us. Maybe get Ollie. Have like 4 people. I don't know. Everyone's
Yeah, I would
always
love to.
that would be fun as hell, man. Like bring back the masterminds, but everyone's gonna be active
Oh,
at different
damn.
times.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be active after like episodes and stuff. So just hit me up. I'm down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me and Trenton are supposed to do one after the Sunday episode, so I'll hit you up for sure, and we'll try to get everyone do a little weekly recap because I'm supposed to do weekly recaps this season. So.
All right. Just let me know. All right.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. Anyways, thanks for coming on, man. It was fun.
You too. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, man, for sure. And yeah, I think we have a crazy season ahead of us. I think that if you're a fan of Big Brother and you stopped watching because it got really shitty lately, maybe watch again. I don't know. It might be
Again.
worth
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Anyways, man, thank you for
I
coming on.
appreciate it.
Anyways, for sure. See you, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. You too. All right. Bye.
Bye.